I play Beat Saber. Only on normal. Normal, I can do some hard modes, but it really depends.
Dude, I really want to get a VR set just so I can play that game on. I'd love to play that.
What kind of
Those,
If I might
I love
suggest,
those. I love those kind of games. Like, just
I would suggest
I-
getting an Oculus Rift and just buying a third camera
Uh,
instead of HTC Vive.
I really was thinking about the Hive, honestly, just because it's more. What's the word? It's better for Steam.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's 7:08. We should probably get started.
All right.
Are we missing anyone?
No, we got everybody.
No, everyone's been here for a while.
Also, could you not ear rape me to get our attention, please? I wear headphones and I generally have max volume on.
All right, I'll think about it in the future. All right. So, on the last episode of Dungeons and Dylan's Ball Z, we had, well, a few things happen. So we had the party escaping, essentially, after taking down Chris Blackbrick, who ended up being some other woman in disguise. After which Throm took off to the forest, and the rest of the party ended up going ultimately to Father Hartman in the Church of Pelor. So, at that point, the poison began kicking in shortly after. Like, everybody was talking about essentially what's going on, what are we gonna do, stuff like that. And afterwards, after this poison started kicking in, just things were not going well. Martha was just not feeling good and ended up just convulsing and passing out. So, in an attempt to help her, Zlatota remembered the healing properties of the ashwagandha root that would probably be growing in this nearby forest region, and went off. Ended up meeting up with Throm, and I can't remember, Zlatota, you had one dose that you found, or was it two?
I found 2 doses. I've brewed both doses. In the morning, I took one, put the other in the water skin, and Eldrin and Conrad found a large one, and then like 5 others.
Yeah, which I said how many doses that was. I think it was something like 3 total doses from them as well.
I don't think you said a specific number, just that one was really big.
Yeah, I said one was big, enough for, I think, 2 doses by itself, and then there's just a bunch of little tiny ones that they plucked, and that would be enough for one by itself, for a total of 3 doses worth from what they gathered. So after Conrad attacked and slipped back off into the shadows, we left off panning back over the town, and then Martha having a dream with Conrad again choking the life out of her and then stopping and putting his head to the stomach of Martha, looking strangely at her, and then the dream kind of fading back into blackness. So, Team Throm, you guys were making your way towards town, correct? Or were you waiting it out until morning?
No, I'm making my way towards town.
Or
I didn't see the Conrad thing, so I'm kind of just following Eldrin. Actually, when I'm looking,
actually, you did, because you see me getting hit by him.
I don't.
Well, it's actually magic missile, but yeah.
Yeah, because we all woke up in time to see him, Eldrin, appear with a thunderous blast, and then magic missiles, take them down.
Right. That's right. I think I rolled like an intelligence check and Throm didn't know. It's like, what? What? So he's just kind of following. He's just kind of following you guys.
Well, okay, so how far are we from the town exactly? From the camp?
Approximately 10 to 12 miles.
Okay, so definitely want to start walking.
Start running.
That too, I guess.
Let me check my character real quick. Okay, never mind. Yeah, how long of a run is it?
It's definitely going to take a little while. If you're dashing, I would say probably something like, hold on here. Probably like an hour and 20-ish minutes to dash the
Alright.
whole thing. Like if you were like straight up dashing nonstop.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure because I know one of my natural explorers lets me make sure we don't get lost while we're doing stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It might be advisable to enter town before everyone wakes up because we are still hunted.
Yeah,
And yeah, it is at this point. It is still in the middle of the night. It's probably like roughly 4-ish in the morning.
Yeah, we should probably. Because I want to go back and clean up that brains and blood that was on the ground. And pretend like nothing happened. There's no proof that I killed Chris. She
So,
ran
yeah.
away.
we'll start.
Just
Yes, we're gonna start speeding back.
Okay. So as you're speeding back, you feel again like you have like this shadow at the edge of your vision. Not just because it's dark out, it's like due to the poison. So as you get rolling, you take your dose and you spend a few minutes salvaging the other dose in a water skin. And it takes a little bit. It's not like an instant relief, right? So you, while dashing, you feel lightheaded. You don't feel good. You're like breaking out in a really cold sweat, and over the course of the run, you start feeling some of these symptoms subside. You see that blackness at the edge of your vision begin to fade away until you can see correctly. You still feel like you've had the worst hangover of your life, but you can feel as some of those things begin to go away. What I am going to have you do is go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Sorry.
Slatoda.
Oof.
And I haven't had any failed saves so far, so of the what was it? I've passed like 5.
Okay. So this was okay. Good. So you feel pretty wiped out by the time you hit Utsad, but you are not technically exhausted. What's your strength, Eldrin?
my strength. It's not great. 8.
Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw. Actually, what's your Constitution?
Literally 10.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and make one. I'm not going to have one for Throm just because he's a beefcake. And he can run for days.
Oh, I think I took Latota's luck.
Yep. So again, you're running on pure adrenaline right now. No problem. You make it the whole way. Okay. So you guys make your way into town. At this point, because it was like 4, yeah. So the sun has not come over the horizon yet, but it won't be long at this point, because at this, it's like 5:30ish, 5:15, 5:30ish. So the sky is beginning to turn a light blue.
Before we all go racing in, I am going to drop one of this real quick. Just in case people start waking up or farmers are out early.
Absolutely.
As we come into town, Brown's gonna say, "Yeah, we're still going find Marta. I'll be back." And I'm gonna run off towards the black brick.
Okay.
Sneak off towards the brick.
Absolutely.
Kind of like through that alley.
Okay. And the other two, you guys are going. Oh yeah, obviously you came from there, so you know that the church is where she is. So, we'll say you guys make your way to the church. Go ahead and make stealth rolls, all around. Throm.
35.
Nope, now let's hit my luck again.
35 and a 23 for you, Eldrin.
31.
All right. Yeah, no problems.
Whenever it matters most, I just fail the rolls.
There's a split-second nick where somebody looks in your direction, but it's like one of the farmers that's up early. Again, this is a farming town, so people are up very early. There's like this one dude that's like walking his dog, and there's like a split second, and then whatever, he keeps walking. So Throm, you make your way to the black bricks. What do you wish to do? All seems still.
Going in like the back, where I fought Chris or whoever that girl was, and if there's any evidence left of the battle, I want to kind of just clean it up.
It's been mostly cleaned up. You see, like, there's still. It's almost like the ground has been stained a little bit, and there's like the little impact mark that you had. But it's been mostly cleaned up. It seems like they've salvaged the flesh, at least.
Gotcha. Right. I'm gonna go into the black.
Okay. And with that, just hold that thought. So,
Yeah.
before we go to the church, so Kaiza. So, it is very late. You're waiting for hours before anybody comes to get you. You're nestled outside of the black bricks, and you're kind of awoken in the middle of the night by a kick. Not rough, just like a little tap, something to get your attention.
Kaiser looks up and sees who's the person waking him up.
You see, you already met Father Hartman. No, you met,
No, I didn't. I met Quincy.
didn't. Yeah, so you see an older looking gentleman, just like these very nice, kind of simple, like commoner's clothes. It's just like a nice white cotton shirt that's like, it's not all dirty and stained. It's very simple, but it looks nice. And he has like this big kind of like white beard, just very friendly looking, and he has a lantern with him. Hello. I was told a young man was looking to see me. You seem to be his description.
Father Hartman, I assume then.
At your service. Dawn Father be praised. And he does like a little gesture.
Came by a little earlier today and I saw an incident. I've heard the villagers side, but still a lot of blanks left to be filled in. Could you help give me the rest of the story on what's happened here?
Of course. But, well, you seem to be cold and this is not the place. Come with me. Kind of like reaches out his hand and like as a good gesture to like help you on your feet.
Kai's just sort of starts standing up on his own. He uses his halberd as sort of like a balancing thing, like he uses it for leverage as he's getting up. Kind of like groggily since he's just been woken up. Like, what is it, 4 a.m. You said, like that?
Yeah.
Or is it? Okay, yeah, so 4 a.m. So he's just kind of a little groggy still, but he's I haven't described it.
Okay. So he takes you back to the church, and he kind of like brings you back to like all the way down the aisleway inside. There's like a semicircular platform that's raised where like the statue of Pelor is, and it's like where they do any sort of ceremony stuff. Off to the left, there's like a very small room. It has like a tiny little like bed or a cot. It's got like a stove and just like a tiny kitchen table, sort of. Just has like 2 seats. So he gestures to you to sit down.
By the way, just for continuity's sake, just to be sure nobody forgot him, just in case I did eat the same thing that these people did, sort of unknowing, like, out of character, like, I know I ate the same stuff, but just some Kaiser's character would have done that. So it's been a while now. Wouldn't Kaiser be feeling any of the effects, or?
Yeah, but I thought you said that once you started feeling the effects, like you were just gonna get rid of it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But well,
but yes, we'll say.
Did I feel the effect?
Yeah, we'll say yes. You were feeling like just very like all of a sudden just like no, something's wrong. You started kind of getting a cold sweat in your sleep, and you woke up a few times, almost feverish.
Right. Then I do need to actually deduct 5 points from my pool of healing, because that's what I would need to do to get rid of that. So just to keep track of that as well.
Okay. Oh, because you can use 5 points to do.
Yeah, it's 5 points to heal or 5 points to get rid of 1 poison or ailment affecting somebody.
Perfect. So you kind of wake up, and when you feel that, you do that to yourself, and you feel like the sweet relief as like the warmth pours through your body, and you settle back down, and you're like, ah, okay, that's better. You drift off to sleep, and then this happens.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Just for continuity's sake, just make sure I wasn't missing anything. Cool.
Yep. So, so he invites you in. He begins brewing like some tea. He puts some water on like a tea kettle, kind of. So, you wish to be filled in on the details.
Yes,
What do you?
I've spoken to the locals here. They told me of a group of adventurers who helped them with some misfortune they came upon. Dire wolves and other creatures, they said. And
Indeed.
they said these people killed somebody. I find that odd that a group of travelers who went out of their way to help a village would just randomly kill people, of course. I've known people to show their true nature over some time. I never know if these people fall into that category, but still, I would rather have the full truth before I make any decisions.
He nods slowly. For that you are correct, friend. It's not always easy to know who to trust, but you seem like a trustworthy fellow. Yes, you are correct. And these heroes, they saved us from more than just mere dire wolves, friend. 'Twas a great evil that is still here. It's somehow duped many of the people in the village.
Duped.
Somehow has led them to believe that these heroes have helped with dire wolves and bears and animals of that nature, has somehow twisted and perverted their memories of what has happened. I don't quite understand it, but I suppose maybe it's the blessing of Palor that I haven't been affected.
Hmm. Perhaps you are right. So, what is this great evil you speak of?
'Tis a lady, a foul creature. Her form is wretched. Her hair is long, covers her face. Seems to be some sort of, I don't know, possibly a spirit. I'm not quite sure entirely, but she has found a way to pervert people and bend them to her will. And her influence seems to stretch far.
Hmm. A troublesome foe, it seems.
He nods. I managed to collect, due to these heroes, her spellbook. While my infernal is somewhat rusty, I have in fact been able to read some of it and ascertain some of the natures of what she was doing. It seems she, and at this he kind of leans closer a little bit, has found a way to turn the children into her kind, twist them.
At that, Kaiser's expression kind of turns like more of a sort of uh more of a indifferent, so like it went from a more or less indifferent sort of facial expression to a more serious now, because uh he doesn't exactly have context here, but from what he's saying, he suspects that, you know, they might be undead, or that she might be doing something along those lines. So he is not okay with people messing around with dead people, aka necromancy or anything like that. So at that, it's kind of almost like a wince when you say that, and he suddenly gets a little more serious. Do you mind showing me this spellbook, my friend? As you may have noticed, I'm not of your kind. I'm a tiefling, I am. Infernal's not exactly unknown to me.
He
If this book
nods.
truly is written in Infernal, I should be able to read it.
That would be a pleasure. Possibly you could pick up or understand with greater detail what I've begun to flesh out. And he, at this point, like the tea starts going off, and he makes a cup and offers you one.
Uh, Kaiser kind of politely declines it and says, I ran unpleasant, into a rather unpleasant meal earlier. Forgive my cautious nature, but I'd rather not risk a second coming of these.
He nods. It is fine. I'm not offended in the least. Alright, and he sets his cup down. He kind of like takes a quick sip off his, and then alright, let's get going. And he leads the way. He opens the door, and right across the way, like across this semicircular praying platform, he takes out like a large key and opens the door with a, and as he steps through, He brings you over to like a narrow staircase that seems to be winding up, and he leads the way, kind of going up and up and up. He's got his lantern to light the way, and at this, he again unlocks the door and goes in. And you see, it seems to be like the attic. It's semi-finished, and you can see in the middle of it there's a table, and there appears to be some sort of gentleman kind of passed out right next to the table, like in a bedroll. And then you see another gentleman that's kind of dozing off, like in the corner. He has like he has a lantern next to him. It almost looks like he's on watch or something, but he's kind of like dozed off. And at this, I would say, Fernand, go ahead and make just a perception check. Okay. Yeah, so you don't wake up to this, but the father goes in and right this way, sir.
I still have my perception is negative.
So I just see two people lying on the ground, basically sleeping away in the attic of a temple.
Yeah, you see one that looks to be like in a bedroll. The other one, he has almost like his knees were up, and he's kind of like he was. It looks as though he's in a position where he didn't mean to fall asleep. Like he was maybe like watching over or something, and you notice there is another bedroll next to the table that is empty.
So an empty bedroll, right? I sort of, as I'm walking by, I turn to the father and I kind of say, "Is it common for you to have people lounging in your attic?"
Not at all. And as he kind of like takes his attention off of you and then like goes to lead forward, he goes to the table before looking down. And then he looks over to the person who appeared to be like he was on watch, and he goes over and kind of kicks him. Quincy! What, father? What has happened? Where's our dear friend Martha? And at that, they both kind of get up and look around the attic. At this point, they probably would have... I don't think they would wake up Vernant, because he wasn't doing very well. But, yeah, you see as they begin pacing around the room.
So they just start pacing around the room.
Yes.
Let's see. Kaiser kind of goes on guard on this. So he's paying attention to everything now. It's just like an uncomfortable feeling for him. Like he sees you guys just suddenly looking around. He's like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he asks the father, what's the matter? Why the sudden rush?
There was another one here. A friend. And he points to the empty bedroll. As you look, you can see like this bedroll it's like soaked with sweat, and you can see next to it there's like a towel and a bowl of water and what appears to be some sort of like some hard bread, and then some sort of like, again, like towels, and what seems to be like maybe they were caring for somebody here. And he kind of like puts his hands in his head for a second, and I assume the worst. And he looks over at Quincy. Oh, what happened? Quincy kind of looks down and then looks over to the father, and I'm sorry, father, but I was keeping watch. Nothing seemed strange. I began to feel tired, and it appears I dozed off. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And at that, he kind of like goes down to one knee and begins clutching his holy symbol. And with that, the father, his face goes from like a tense kind of like he's like angry for a split second, but he kind of relaxes and puts his hand on the other one's head. It is all right. It is okay. It happens to the best of us. And he kind of like lifts him up. What matters is what we do from here. And he gestures over to you. Friend, I know not if it would be impolite to make such a request from you now, but it appears something has happened to our friend. She was here not long ago. It was, well, I had left not long ago to come and retrieve you. In that time frame, it seems that something has happened to Martha, our dear friend. Would you possibly be willing to help us?
Kai's kind of thinks about it for a bit. He looks over at the symbol on his halberd, like again with this very pondering look. So, just thinking whether he should do it. What would the Raven do? What would yeah, it's kind of almost like how he's almost as if he's consulting it. And he looks down for a bit, sighs, and goes, "Very well. However, if this is related in any way to this so-called great evil you mentioned earlier, any information you have would be useful. Also, any help would be appreciated."
Of course. And he kind of like takes his hand off of the other one and walks towards you. He goes to gesture to the table. The book, if you... And he stops for a moment. No. It was right here. It was... And he looks over back at Quincy, who begins shaking his head. Damn it. It appears she has the book too.
Seems someone doesn't want you snooping around their secrets. He says this, and he kind of looks down at the other person still sleeping, and he asks Father, "And what's the matter with this one? Do not want watchers as well?"
He was poisoned. We've been caring for him. It's actually another friend, a companion of the one that has been taken.
A companion, you say? Then any information he gives will likely be valuable. And as he says, as he kind of walks over to the man, kneels next to him, and places his hand on his chest, and lo and behold,
All
so
right.
I cure him of his poison since he mentioned poison.
Yep. So, and at that, you can see his breathing kind of stabilizes ever so slightly. And he's still asleep at this point, but you could like shake him awake.
I give him a small kick. Sort of the same style that the father gave me, I guess. Just to
Yeah.
wake him up.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
more
me,
like a
right?
foot. It was more like a foot nudge than a kick per se.
Kaiser isn't as genteel. He basically had the same idea in mind, but it's more of one of the times that he doesn't really know his own strength too much, so it was meant to be like a little tap, but it came out as like a small kick.
This is me, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Verdant kind of nudges awake and kind of very quickly, he almost goes for the rapier, and then he realizes that, and he looks up and is like, "Oh, a tiefling. Hello?" And he looks around the room. How long was I out?
Quite a while. Approximately 6 hours or so.
Could be worse. And he kind of looks around the room a bit more. Well, I'm gonna make a perception check because yeah, he probably doesn't know this Martha's gone, unless somebody tells him. He probably just gets to his feet and is like, "How much better is he feeling?"
Quite a bit. Like, all the symptoms
Yeah,
are
it
gone. Like,
clears yeah.
you're still out of it in terms of like the mental and the physical exhaustion that comes along with it, but
Mhm.
it is gone. So it's like
Yeah,
you don't feel 100%, but you're like 75.
Yeah, it just
75%.
cures the poison. It doesn't actually cure the damage or the strain it's put on you so far. It's just gotten rid of it, really.
Yeah, and Vernon just kind of gets up, stretches, puts a hand to his the handle of his rapier, and just kind of looks around and is like, "Well, what is new, and who is our new friend here?"
So a friend, hopefully, someone here to help. And Father Hartman kind of like helps you to your feet.
When he says a friend, Kaiser kind of says, "I wouldn't presume on a friendship quite yet.
Well, you're the
I
third
am
magic. You're the
I
third
am
magic
helping.
user to save my
I
life
am.
this week. So
I was simply acting on my beliefs and teachings. As and that as I am helping you for the same reason. I
That
will
is
help
the
you."
best that we can do, men of our trade. That is. And with that, he kind of like nods with a like a half bow of like respect.
So wait, do I get any healing from the lay on hands, or is it simply getting rid of
Just
this?
the
Yeah, okay.
removal of the poison. He just
Yeah.
like his whole logic for this is like with healing, he will heal somebody if they're in risk of dying because he believes that he doesn't believe in messing around with death and all that much, but he believes that if he can prevent it, then it must be in some kind of grandiose
Yeah.
plan. Like he's very he's got a lot of beliefs in destiny and all that sort of thing, basically, you know.
Yeah.
So he believes that if he can, he will. But since for you it wasn't really at risk of you dying, it was more about him just getting rid of the poison so he could talk to you and ask you questions.
Yeah.
It is more of I need to talk to you now. Get the fuck up. Right.
All right. So with that, the father kind of sits you all down at the table, and he kind of goes over what happened. He tells you, Vernant, that Martha's missing, that Quincy must have been either put to sleep or drifted off, and they're not quite sure where she is yet.
Oh wow, that's terrible. I mean, if that one hag, whatever you want to call it, could transform into that innkeep, then it's presumable that they could have turned into someone that we trust even a little bit, or somebody sneaky and gotten into here. Especially if they have magic, that's as unpredictable as it gets.
If haven't you faced this creature before?
Me, well, I've taken some blue magic bolts to the chest. It didn't feel very good, but I've never faced the lady herself. Only a handful of, or well, only one minion so far. I was not with the original group that was here. I'm new. Vernon Barclay. And I put my hand out to him.
Kaiser looks at his hand, in sort of like, do you expect me to do something? And just looks back up at him and says, Kaiser, Merkalvich.
After a second, Vernon kind of puts his hand back down and is like, well, I suppose that'll do if you're not in the mood for pleasantries. So what exactly are we going to do about this?
If I can help it, I will find this creature of yours. I I have reasons to believe she may be defiling the Raven's teachings, and for that she will be punished.
Hmm.
As for you or your party, if I were to be blatantly honest, I care little for. However, you have faced this creature in the past, so your information, opinions, and insight on it are valuable. I will do what I can to return this Martha to you. However, I can't guarantee it.
And at this, Vernon kind of looks around the room and is like, well, unfortunately, the only person in this room who was around to fight this creature is, not exactly following us around anymore, but, Quincy, I think you were there, weren't you?
He nods. Yes, a foul creature. Everyone thinks she's a foul creature. So foul. What can I
Well, at least
say?
we have
What-
we have one person who knows something.
She is tricky. She uses illusions. She uses the terrain to her advantage, people to her advantage. She's not very
Although-
straightforward.
Although if there's one thing that I know from my studies of theater and the arts, is with every trick and grandeur, there is a way to see through it. Nothing's irreversible.
Indeed.
We just have to be smarter. If I were a apparently rejected creature, some witch or hag from another plane of existence, where would I take the people that I hold hostage? And by the way, it's not an expression, I'm quite literally asking you. I have no idea.
That is beyond me. She had a den
That's
in
nice.
the forest that we had cleaned out, but beyond that, I'm not quite sure.
I mean, if she's as tricky as you say, then I doubt she is living in the same den.
I would
But maybe
very much doubt it.
that's a worthy lead if we have the time. Which I feel like that's the one thing that we don't have much of right now.
Agreed.
Kaiser looks at the father and Quincy. You mentioned Sinead. This man mentioned he wasn't part of the original group. Would there be any that are that I could possibly speak to?
One of them has gone out looking for an antidote for this poison. I'm not sure when he'll be back. But he left quite some time ago. As well
If Earth
as
is resourceful as all hell, or as all the hells, I don't have a doubt in my mind that he'll be back here.
there was another elven compatriot as well. It appears he has left. I think Quincy had
Eldrin
taken
isn't-
over, right? Eldrin? Before you left? Because you were still there for a while.
Come again?
I said that I believe Father Hartman was not there when you left with Conrad, correct?
No, we asked Quincy to help take care of the take care of Martha and Vernon before we left.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm just. Yep. All right. So yeah, the father wouldn't have known where they went. Quincy, suppose Quincy pipes up and mentions that they were also headed off towards the forest to help.
The elven one, Eldrin, is an interesting sort, but I've seen some of the magic that he can do, and he's also rather capable. I wouldn't be expecting either of them to show up dead. I feel like they're going to put up more of a fight than any of us combined.
Death comes for us all, my friend. Sometimes when we least expect it. I wouldn't make any bets against it.
I make bets against death almost every time I go out the front door. And life is but a gamble.
You're
I would
not
like-
one, aren't
And I
You're
would like
not
to
one,
think myself
aren't
a
you?
winner.
There are no winners. We all lose to death eventually.
Eventually, yes. But why not take some joy in while it's around?
All right.
Do you know where in the forest they were heading? Do you know where in the forest they were headed?
The father
He says
shakes
he's
his head.
starting
Can I make... Would I have heard anything about what they were talking about medicine and the roots and stuff like that? Probably not, right?
You came to like for brief seconds,
Like,
kind of faded in and out, but like nothing that.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, as somebody who has kind of studied medicine and the sciences, maybe I could try and gather from what I heard that maybe I could try and determine what exactly they were talking about, but I don't know if I even know enough to do that.
Yeah, there was no like pinpoint.
Especially considering that I have +1 nature and -1 survival. Alright. Yeah. And at this, you just kind of see Vernon look to the floor, and he looks a little bit more down than most of you are used to seeing him.
He's not used to seeing him at all, is he?
I mean, basically none of you are, but just looks more
No.
down than he has been.
It'll be okay, young man. We'll find her. The father kind of
Yeah.
like nods his head and assures you. Well,
Just wish we had some idea of where the hell to go.
she hasn't been gone too long. Perhaps we should start the search now.
Hopefully, we can head in the right direction and run into the rest of the party, because as much as I have faith in my blade, I don't do well without reinforcements.
Stick together. That's all we can do. And,
And at this he looks the Kaiser and sees the halberd and is like, although that is a mighty weapon you have there, friend.
Yes, it has helped me carry out her will many times, and I hope it shall keep doing so.
I don't even think I could carry that thing. And at this, Vernon kind of starts walking and is hoping that, we're starting to gather up to potentially leave and do something. He looks eager to leave.
Kaiser catches on that he's actually, well, a perception check. Let's see how well he catches on to how obvious it is to him. Okay, not that obvious. He sees that you want to leave, but
He doesn't
He's not-
care.
it's kind of like, oh, he wants to go. I
Well, if
suppose
anybody-
I suppose we might as well start. They mentioned they were going to the forest. Might as well do a run around the perimeter of the city, around that area if we can.
Yes. I mean, based on the geography that Vernon's seen, the city's not surrounded by forests. I mean, I can tell out by the map. So
Yeah.
there aren't exactly a lot of places to go. So
Well, all the better. A smaller search area makes for an easier time, an easier task even.
smaller, I'm not entirely sure about, but there's a few likely routes.
All right then. Since you seem more knowledgeable of the city, I'll let you lead the way.
All right. Actually, Vernon has done a fair amount of gallivanting. That's basically all he's been doing around Goodside since he got here. So I imagine that he would know a bit in terms of like directions. What would I roll for that to try and lead the way? Hopefully not survival. Please tell me not survival.
There's no real like leading the way because you don't. There's like a 24 mile.
Yeah.
You know what I
We're
mean?
essentially, yeah.
It's like a
what I
shot in
imagine
the
is
dark.
we're essentially
Well,
just going
I mean-
straight out into the forests and keeping our eyes out. And
Well,
Yeah.
I said perimeter. Well, I said perimeter around the city, so it'd be more like just this. It'd be just going
Yeah.
around this area here first. Sort
Yeah.
of just seeing this first, see if we can see any signs there, because we're not going to go on detail here if we can first. We're just going to sort of do a quick scout first, and
just
then
doing a walk around this side of the city,
to see
well,
if we see
the
anything
town.
obvious. Just basically looking for anything more obvious or
which would still
any
take a long
leads.
time, but at least we're
Yeah.
not, running through a forest in the middle of the night.
Well, it narrows down the areas.
Right. Well,
And,
so these are
at
all.
least most of these people with us are not recognizable, and Vernon can do some things to his appearance.
Yeah, so all these hexes around, like there's a smattering, like every now and again there'll be a residence, but those are like the crops and the fields. Like the in town is like the space that you're on. And if you wanted to go to different hexes and whatnot, normal, like if you wake up early in the morning and travel, you can travel about 4 hexes in a day. Just to give you a
Yeah.
indication of how much you can move.
Well, can we do an investigation check around the area, around the outer areas of the city, of the village, to see if we get any traces or any general leads on where to search specifically?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you guys can
Okay.
both go ahead and make an investigation check. And
Could I give him advantage by helping him? Because I'm going to imagine his investigation is higher.
My investigation's only 1.
Never mind then, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is both of you can do an investigation check with advantage. Because you have Quincy and the father helping investigate.
That's also
coming with
true.
you.
Hey, at least I had advantage. So we're not lost.
Right. Okay. So as you guys do like a check around, like you're just like you start close to the house of Paylor, and then you kind of like work out from there. And while you don't necessarily find any like here's a footprint and here's like a splotch of blood, like it's not like CSI or anything, you do
I smell Eldrin.
in your investigation, you do see kind of like a couple of houses that seem to still be devastated by like they haven't been completely repaired yet, and they seem to be abandoned. And what you notice, Kaiza, that seems strange is that even though they're abandoned, there appears to be like you can just barely see the embers of something in the fireplace. Like it's like not a fire, it's died out, but it's just like a very light glow that you can just barely see through the window.
Quincy and Father Hartman are still with us, right?
Correct.
Also, I'm just saying that Vernon probably doesn't see any of this, considering I just rolled a 2 for perception. he
Yeah.
doesn't.
Kai-
He doesn't care.
Kai's is going to point out that he sees like a slight glow to these houses, and he's gonna ask about if they have any occupants or what exactly happened there to Hartman and Quincy.
Him and Quincy look at each other. Quincy kind of shrugs. Well, Quincy here is somewhat new to the area, but as far as I know, there's nobody staying here.
Well, that's mildly disconcerting. Because if
Fires,
there's nobody staying here, then I imagine that somebody who wouldn't be able to get a house otherwise is probably staying there.
There's been an influx of people here. Since the rebuilding started, it's very plausible.
Well, that's a little bit comforting.
Still, though, that house is in no shape for residency. I'd hate to see it collapse. I hope there's not a family in there. Perhaps it's best to check it out.
Well, if you people go in there, I'll follow. But I'm not going to be going in any half-burned down houses by myself. I don't do well in enclosed spaces.
Normally, Kaiser wouldn't really check it out because if it's not related to what he's doing, he doesn't really care too much. But it does bother him like the idea that if it's not livable, why is there someone like it? It just seems like you said off to him. So he's going to go check it out more on the fact that he feels uncomfortable about not knowing, moreover than it's actually useful.
Also, I have a question. Is Quincy armed and armored?
No. He grabbed his sword and his shield, but he didn't completely armor up.
Okay. That's
He
what I
just
was
kind of
wondering.
had like his vestiges on. He was like keeping watch.
Yeah. Okay.
And the father is completely unarmed. He just has a lantern.
All right.
Let's see. Kaiser walks up to the house and knocks on the door.
Okay. As you knock on the door, you can feel like the door kind of straining as you hit it. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Perception, there it is.
Okay. No answer.
Kaiser is going to look through one of the windows and see if he can see anything, because he finds it odd that there are embers and going on there. Him not hearing any response just sort of sound more alarms to him than somebody actually answering, so he's even more suspicious now.
You have dark vision, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, you actually see a couple of silhouettes. They're kind of like by the embers. They appear to be like maybe, I don't know. They're varying ages. Maybe one's like 8-ish, one's maybe like 10, another one's like 13 or so. And they're kind of like huddled together. Their backs kind of to you, and you can see like is they're like ever so slightly like looking back in your direction and like huddling closer together.
Let's see. He mentions the children to Father Hartman, saying there appear to be children in there. Are hooligans something common in your village?
Recently, yes. If they have no parents, no home, we can at least take them. Give them shelter, food.
Kaiser Kaiser just keeps looking at Hartman and says, well, that I'm afraid is your business and not mine. And then Kaiser starts moving away from the house and continues looking for the party or any signs off. Like again, he's got this very don't intervene really. He's not a kind person really. He only helps because he sees it as it's meant to happen, so he will.
Right. So as you begin walking off down, the father stands for a moment as you kind of like pass the torchlight. He looks back at the house and over to Quincy. And then he looks over to you, Vernant. What say ye?
I don't think Vernon's paying enough attention to understand what's going on right now. So,
Vernant or Weiler?
both.
Yes. Yeah, okay, so the father kind of like, doo. Children, it's alright. I'm Father Hartman, the House of Pelor. If you're hungry, we can give you food. If you're cold, we can give you shelter. Just please, answer the door. And with that, a few seconds later, the door kind of opens up and there's just like a head on the other side. Kind of looks like a very like dirty face kind of child. Doesn't say anything. You see the father kind of like squats down to her level and, hello, dear. Is everything going okay? And you don't hear any answer. Quincy. And he has Quincy kind of like take a look at her, and she appears to be like somewhat obviously shy, not really saying much of a word, and she's kind of like in rags and just very dirty. Go on. Get your brothers and sisters. We saw several of you. We should be able to accommodate all of you. And with that, the girl kind of turns around and just like slowly walks off.
And then at this, Vernon kind of looks at the father and is like, no, I don't mean to be pessimistic. I'm going to feel terrible if I'm wrong here, but I don't think they're acting normally.
With that, he looks to Quincy and then back to you and then nods. If there are children that need to be saved,
You're absolutely right.
I'm afraid I'm willing to take the chance.
As am I. Just keep it in mind. Be cautious about this. I have a bad feeling.
Of course. Now this has been like a few minutes, so I'm gonna say, Kaiser, you're probably trying to think of how long it would take this to go. Yeah, you're well away at this point, Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
So you notice, Kaiser, as you look over and you can see like a really small child and then like a medium-sized child, maybe like a 6-year-old child and like a 10-year-old child or something. And they're just kind of like holding hands in an alleyway. They look like really dirty and decrepit, and they're just like watching you as you go by.
Let's see. He doesn't really pay. He doesn't really pay attention to them. He's being a tiefling and also a paladin for the Raven Queen. He's gotten a lot of weird looks over time, so he doesn't really pay attention to it anymore. To him, this is just people judging him based on looks or his beliefs and all that. So he's just kind of whatever. Keeps walking by, searching for clues about the party.
So as you go to turn your vision, you like for a brief second look and see as the face begins to smile in a grin that's unnaturally wide.
Okay, when he sees that,
When you turn back, the faces appear to be normal. It's like there's like a blip of it, and then when you turn back to notice it,
right,
it's
so
the same image you saw.
so it's like peripheral vision sort of things. So it's kind of like I see it in the peripheral, out of the corner of my eye, and then I look around, and then it's not there anymore.
Correct. They're still there. They're looking at you. Seems to be with the same expression.
Right. He's gonna stop briefly, and then continue walking and searching. He's taken note of this, and now he's going to be a little more aware of these of children like that hanging around the alleyways, but he doesn't want to make it obvious that he's aware of it or that he's paying attention to them. So it's kind of like he stops because he noticed it, and he takes like a quick look at it to see what's happening, sees that they're back to quotation mark normal, and then he sees, okay, something might be going on here. I'm gonna keep an eye out for these things, but don't let them catch on. And then he continues walking again.
Sorry, fittingly my son was scared, so I had to go grab him real quick. All right. Yeah, so as you kind of have that blip and then you look back for a second, it's still there, and then you're like, okay. You begin to hear kind of like a giggle and a chuckle as they and then you see as holding hands they like run off like down the other side of the alleyway and begin like laughing hysterically.
Wow, Vernon. Oh my god.
Okay, so as this happens, like you turn and you're like, wait, what? So panning back to Father Hartman, and so as you guys finish that conversation, you see that child come, but with two others that again are smaller, and kind of walk towards the father. He smiles and it's gonna be okay. We'll take you back to the church, and we'll feed you, keep you warm. And with that, he like reaches out to grab the hand of the eldest one. And as he does that, somebody's typing.
Both of us were typing.
So he goes to reach out for somebody's hand, the eldest child's hand, and all right, come with me. And as he goes to like pull her, he's kind of pulled down to the ground by the child. Quincy kind of has like a brief reaction where he's like, whoa, what's going on? And then the two other children just jump on top of him and begin like just essentially like trying to punch his face and like pummel him. Like they seem to be like almost like wild animals.
At this, Vernon looks to Quincy and goes, Quincy, I know it must be against your nature, but we need to act here. And I start stepping towards him, and I pull out my rapier. Not doing anything yet. I'm actually waiting to see what Quincy does. But if you want me to make a persuasion check, I'll fucking do it. I'm converting him right now. He's gonna murder some children. If I have anything to do with it.
You can see there's certainly some hesitation. Like, he pulls out, but he's kind of like, he can't quite find it in him to like take the step forward. You know, like he draws his sword.
All right. So what exactly are they doing? Like, they're just beating the crap out of Father Hartman?
Yeah, but they're kind of like, as they do that, because they're aware of your presence, they're like the two little ones are like mounting him and just like beating the shit out of him, and the older one is like dragging him back into the house. So by the time like the reaction goes, like you can just see like past his kneecaps as they're dragging him into this decrepit house.
I'm going to run up, and the first largest one, I'm going to attempt to attack them. The biggest child that is closest to me. This is so fucked up. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. So as you run into the house, poof, again, it's quite dark in here. There's no light. You can see just because you're close to the doorway, and the father had a lantern since he has since dropped, and you can see the form of one of these younger children that has like these horrible looking talons, and look back to see this just dirty face with this unnaturally wide smile.
Yeah, the second that I see that, I'm running them through. It's not bad.
That is certainly a hit.
All right, and would it be sneak attack?
Yes.
Yes, there's nobody else within 5 feet of me, I guess.
Yes.
All right.
So as you do that, you hear just a god awful like as the creature
Jesus
squeals and like falls to the side, twitching.
At this, Vernon reaches back and pulls out his buckler and kind of goes into a defensive stance. I take my dodge for whatever will happen next.
Okay. So as you do this, you begin hearing like this children's kind of laughter and just like a whole bunch of all this pitter patter like going on like through. It seems it's almost like if it's underneath, and like on the floors above there seem to be like multiple other creatures here. And the giggles, as soon as you run the creature through, turn into like wails and screams.
And at this, Vernon yells at the doorway, "Quincy, we really need you here."
And with that, you see his eyes kind of go like hard and resolute as he begins like charging forward into the doorway. So with that,
And as he runs in, Vernon goes, "I'm sorry." And then just goes back to defensive stance.
okay. So hold on here. Gonna put it on something a little less grating on the eyes. So go ahead and put your token down.
Alright, so I imagine that if the doorway is at the bottom, I've kind of backed into like the right corner. Somewhere around here. Oh wow, this is really fucking big. Yeah, I imagine that I'm closer to like the right corner of the room. Something tells me the room is not this big.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, okay. these children are actually in an abandoned mansion.
It's an abandoned town. You open it up to another dimension. Alright, for whatever reason, my tiles here aren't working good, so...
I mean, if you wanted to, you could literally just draw. Oh, okay, tiles. But we could draw a box in here as to how big the room is supposed to be. I imagine not that much bigger than like 50 by 50, 40 by 40. Hey, that's floor. I think.
Alright. So, you're coming in from... I'm not going to draw the walls, but... you're coming in from here.
Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of backing into the corner.
Alright. So there's no corner to back into. What I'm saying is you went in. Father Hartman's like right here. Oh, hold on. Father Hartman's like right here. I would say you're just here. You're one step in the doorway.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I was taking my dodge action, so I imagined I was moving into a better position. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So, just real quick, like...
It's basically a surprise round, so I doubt I would get any movement or anything, so you're about right. But I am taking my dodge. There's one thing that I definitely am doing.
Did the screen go black for you?
Yes.
Perfect.
Ah.
Like I said, it is very dark in there, so hold on here.
Now we need Quincy's token. And in general, I think there's a lot of things that you have to update on Quincy's character sheet.
No, there's actually not.
I mean, there's not really any reason for him to have 13 HP as far as I know, but that's... I mean, you know more than I do about this, so whatever.
All right, I just wanted to draw that because I don't know. I like lighting.
Mm.
All right. So,
Could I roll initiative?
yeah.
Alright. Ooh.
I forgot he's in
Didn't you say Quincy did actually walk in? Oh.
Nah, he begins walking in.
Okay. Damn.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which Quincy normally has 0 initiative. Oh god.
All right.
Why did I not? Why didn't he level Dex, man? Damn, Ryan.
Is the screen still all black for you?
Oh, almost entirely.
But you can see some stuff,
I
right?
can see one like partially green. I can see like the top of one green token, and that's it. That's like a diagonal slice in the room, going from here to about here.
All right.
That's all I see. Everything else is black. Not sure if that's what I'm supposed to be seeing, because it looks real weird, but
I'm just making sure that everything is right on the this.
mm-hmm.
All right. For okay, it doesn't matter. I'm controlling Quincy anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, okay. So Quincy goes forward, can kind of see this other one, and there's not really a good way because you're kind of like in a hallway
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
So we'll say he kind of like pushes. He's occupying your same space as he's like trying to pull back against to because they're still actively pulling now. The second one that was on Father Hartman has like dismounted him and it's like also attempting to pull him into the building, into the structure.
Okay. And also, Quincy's always been like the valiant protector, so I imagine that he's trying to run in front.
Right. So what I'm gonna do is just have him do a strength check.
Oh my god, he doesn't have most of his armor class though, man. Alright. Somebody should have told him to wear armor.
Alright, so strength. Oh wow, okay, they rolled a nat 20. So yeah, as he's just attempting futilely as he's still getting pulled back, the strength of these children appears to be like they're not normal children, obviously. So
Mm-hmm. Alright. Back to me. I'm just going to run towards the nearest thing and go for another attack, which I'm assuming is this token that I see right here, right?
correct.
Alright. I run forward and I go for a rapier attack. And there are no hostiles within 5 feet with other hostiles within 5 feet of me. That should be
Well,
a sneak attack.
So just so you know,
I don't know actually. Yeah.
there are two. So actually, I probably shouldn't have given you the sneak attack on the first one, but there's there's 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now there are 2.
Well, it's within 5 feet of me, not within 5 feet of them.
Yeah, they're both. Oh, I see what you're saying. So technically, you could have yeah. In this case, they're side by side, so you wouldn't get the sneak attack because they're both they're
Okay.
pulling on his arms, essentially one on each arm. So there's the one that's older looking, maybe like 10 or 12 looking, and then there's the little one that was like 8, roughly.
And then, like I keep saying, I use my cunning action to go into a dodge again.
Okay. So
So disadvantage on their attacks.
Okay. So what I'm trying to ask you is, are you attacking the smaller one or are you attacking the larger one?
Probably the larger one.
Okay. So that
Taking
hits.
out the biggest targets first.
Okay. So the little one. Yeah, the little one just begins trying to essentially tries to pounce you and try in an attempt to knock you prone. So go ahead and make hold on here. Go ahead and make an athletics or acrobatics check, whichever is better for you.
That's a 17.
Okay.
My athletics
So
is -1. No, wait, my athletics is 0, but my acrobatics is 6.
so the first one kind of like jumps on you, and you're like able to like out of the way, and as it kind of goes past you, it looks like a very feral looking creature at this point. Again, with just this weird, unnaturally large maw, breaks out into like this toothy grin. The large one. Hold on. I say large again. We're talking about like children's size.
Yeah, but it's larger than the other one, and probably a little bit more dangerous to a skinny boy like me.
That is correct. Yeah, going to go ahead. It points at you, and
Hi. That's a terrible word.
you know what? Yep, it's gonna. You see 3 blips pop out, come and hit you.
Magic missile. So 11 damage. Ow.
Correct.
All right. Half health.
So I did another one. That's the little one that's on your left.
Okay.
So Quincy, just gonna take this opportunity to attack the small one, and then it's your go.
Okay. He could do a smite, I think.
He absolutely
He has
could.
spell slots. I'm trying to think of what a paladin would do.
It's all right. I know what he'd do.
Yeah. Like paladin and cleric are one of the few classes that I've never really played for and don't really have an idea of what they do.
So I'm looking right now. What I'm saying is you can take your turn while I'm
Okay, yeah.
looking through his stuff.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up to like this corner, like not the corner, but I'm going to run up over to here and try and get a better position to attack whatever haggling is apparently they're called is closest. Would that be sneak attack now?
Yes.
Does that hit though?
An 11. An 11 does not hit.
All right, then I go back into a dodge. Eh.
Okay. So hold on. So Quincy goes and takes his longsword out, strikes this creature, the little one, for 4 slashing. He does his smite. Again, that bastard. He doesn't have anything set up here.
Yeah. Mm. And also, I don't know how paladins work, so I didn't really get to help him.
Okay, sweet. So, no, I know. Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it set up in terms of like
Yeah.
he doesn't have clickable buttons.
Which, to be fair, I didn't have that at the time either. So,
Okay.
which I was the main person helping him.
So you can see as he like slashes through this creature, and you can see his face. He kind of like he winces back after, as the blood kind of like off to the side, and there's like a as it's like cut short.
Okay.
This creature here, is gonna go ahead and kind of skitters around. All right, and the fireplace is right here, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so comes around to you, and it's gonna go ahead and make a. Yep, go ahead and make an athletics or acrobatics check.
20. It's one of the few actual roguelike skills I have. Actually, I have mostly roguelike skills, but
Yeah, so as this creature like begins to pull at you and attempt to drag you, but you're just again able to dodge, and as the creature like the smile kind of like turns almost to a frown for a second and kind of like all right. So at this point, you guys begin hearing the skittering as things are making their way. It sounds like up through, and because I'll give it to you because this thing was trying to pull you in that direction. You see kind of beyond the other side of the fireplace, there's just like, I don't know, maybe a 3-foot, 3.5-foot diameter like break in the floorboards, and it just like tunnels downward.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear it kind of like shifting and moving from below, like coming up, as well as you can also hear skittering coming from above. That at this point it's like coming down the stairs.
Okay. So should I take my turn while you're figuring out what Quincy's doing?
Okay. So I just wanted to do a couple rounds to see how it would go. The initial thing would go. So at this point, they've left Father Hartman. He's seemingly unconscious. So Quincy's gonna take like a step inside, takes the father, drags him back out of the house.
Okay.
And he also picks up the lantern. So he's got the lantern.
Okay.
And
Fuck.
he calls to you. Vernant, was it? Quick.
I can't see anything, so I would have disadvantage on any attacks that I make or anything of the like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of there. I just run out. And also, any, just so that you know, anytime I make a melee attack against a creature, I don't remember if it hits or not. It counts as a disengage. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you don't have to hit.
Land a strike, and then no wait, you learn how to land a strike and then make a melee attack against a creature. The creature, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure you know that.
Yep. Okay, so you do that just enough to get your movement. Great. So you run out of the door. Okay. I didn't want to do a whole big battle for this. I just wanted to see how the first thing was going to go. I wanted to see if they were going to get him essentially into the hole. So, with that being said, you pull him out, and you see the father, his face and throat are all clawed up. He's bleeding profusely. His breathing has become sporadic and ragged. And Quincy just kind of like over the shoulder, and he's like running. He actually gives you the torch. I say the torch, the lantern. He gives you the lantern, and hold this. I need 2 hands. And as he begins making his way, so just real quick, so you guys hear like the pitter patter of feet, like coming up and out, Vernant, and you hear again like these cries and these wails. You can hear these children like, "Come back! Come back! Help! We need you! We need you!" And just like these just weird voices that are coming in and out, from like child voices to like demonic voices, and again like these wails of like, "Help us!" and stuff like that. So just, creepy stuff. So now we'll say while you guys are running away, panning back over to Kaiza. So from the moment you hear like this laughing as these 2 children that were in the alley just dash off.
Right. So I've just heard kids laughing very unusually and booking it into an alley, essentially.
They're all already in the alley. You saw them. They were staring
Further
at you.
into the alley. Further into the alley. Right. Kaiser is going to stop properly now. And he is going to start heading back towards Vernant and the lodge. But he's going to be walking there with his halberd drawn, kind of dragging along the floor almost. So you can sort of hear the scraping as he's walking through. Like not full weight, like it's just like a mild, like just the tip barely touching, but you can hear it still. He doesn't have the full weight of the halberd on the ground.
So he's running and just dulling
No,
the
he's
tip of
he's
his
he's
halberd.
he's walking, and it's like I said, he doesn't have his weight to it. It's just like barely touching the tip, like on the sand. Like if you've ever,
Yeah. No, I get what you're going for. Okay, but you're just walking slowly. You're not like
yeah, I'm not dashing. He's
okay,
walking,
because you
and
walked.
he's on full alert.
Yeah, you walked for like several minutes while like Father Hartman was like talking and blah blah blah. So I would say minutes wise, what a round is 6 seconds. So 10 rounds is a minute times so 30 rounds worth of full movements or walking movements away.
Again, this is what Kaiser would do right now. Like I'm not meta gaming or anything like that. It's just him. He was walking through. He was trying to investigate because he didn't really want to bother with helping the kids out on that because that's not what he's here for. He's noticed that the kids are actually might be possessed, I think something along those lines, or that they're like, well, that they're probably bad news. So he's gonna start heading back towards Vernant and Hartman to sort of report this, possibly
All right.
check up on them as well because there were kids there as well. But at the same time, he's not gonna blindly dash through because he doesn't know if he's gonna get attacked or anything. So he's like on guard, basically,
Yep.
making his way back.
Okay. So essentially, I was asking because if you're not hauling ass back, they're trying to haul
yeah,
ass
no.
like out and away. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and have a skill challenge. Just for not Quincy doesn't count for this. It's just you for not.
Oh boy.
Quincy he's carrying Father Hartman, like that's his job, he's just like hauling ass. So we're just gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go ahead and do 3 rounds of it as you guys attempt to flee,
All right.
unless you were planning on standing and fighting. That is always an option.
No, I'm definitely running.
All right, 10-4. Okay, so we're gonna start with you.
Okay, so I feel like for my first one, I'm going to do intimidation, which I'm proficient and have expertise in. Where basically Vernon's going to turn around, have his rapier and his crossbow very visible, and he's basically going to yell at anything that seems to be approaching. Get back! I already ran one of you through, and I will not hesitate to do it again.
So as a couple of these children begin running on all fours and coming, they're like swarming out of this doorway now. You see probably about a half a dozen or so figures as they're like making their way towards you. You actually kind of like you skewer one of them ever so slightly as it gets a little too close as you're making your
Should I roll intimidation?
grandiose. Nope. Yes, sorry. Yes, you should. I thought you were gonna say roll to attack. Yeah, so you roll your intimidation as you slightly skewer one of them, and it squeals back in pain, and the rest of them kind of like poof, like almost like a wave, kind of instinctually like draw back, and they kind of like grit their teeth. These appear to be like the smaller ones, like maybe younger-esque children. You can see a couple of larger ones coming out of the house, but he does gain you a couple of precious seconds as Quincy begins beelining down into like another space between the houses and trying to make his way for like the main road.
Okay.
All right, so hold on here. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. All right, so yeah, go ahead, choose another one. So we're going to do
so I
this
feel like
2 more times, and depending on the outcome, failures dictate essentially if they catch up to you or how many catch up to you.
Okay. And basically what I'm doing next is using his rudimentary understanding of stealth and sneaking and that art. Verdant is going to basically, once they get a decent amount, once they get a bit further away from them, he is going to start trying to do things to conceal them, trying to start taking alleyways and directing Quincy in ways to get away from them more easily and trying to get away more stealthily. Natural 20.
Nice. So even like,
Yeah, break line of sight.
yeah, so it's kind of hard. So you have to kind of like, your intuition allows you again to break that line of sight. It's slightly more difficult given that you have the torch, but just again,
Yeah.
like this is your area of expertise. So you guys actually are able to lose them quite a bit from just this. Again, you can kind of hear like the "Come back, help us," and just various like voices calling back out to you.
Yeah. Alright, and for the next one, I'm going to do something kind of interesting, because instead of doing something that would be a negative for the enemy, or doing something that would like allow us to get away easier, I'm going to try and inspire Quincy to keep pushing on with persuasion. I'm essentially going to take a second to talk to Quincy and go, I know this is really tough for you and even me, but we need to go on and we need to try to save this man's life. We need to get back and we need to do something.
Okay. So as you're doing that, you just hear like these hideous wails and these like, Hernant, come play, come back, Quincy.
That's a 26.
Yeah, and as you hear like these horrible cries, you can see Quincy's kind of like, and he's starting to slow down. But you're like, come on, dude, like let's go. You begin picking him back up, and he begins to pick up his pace and finds his second win as you guys both just run
Vernon
out
just
of
kind
there.
of points to Father Hartman on the back and is like, the only way that man is making it out of this alive is if we get somewhere safe as quickly as possible.
All right, so you guys just begin. At this point, the cries are kind of like distant behind you. You've definitely cleared a large gap between them and yourself. All right, so as you guys like are kind of like running off into like closer to where are you taking them? Are you trying to go back to the church, or did you have another place in mind?
Honestly, Vernon's going wherever Quincy is directing him, which I would imagine would be back to the Temple of Pelor.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Kaiza. So, as you're doing this, Kaiza, you hear some sort of commotion as there's like a bunch of essentially like wailing and screaming. You begin hearing some of this because it's obviously like the dead of night and stuff, but it's somewhat further beyond you. It would take you a little bit to get there.
So I'm hearing commotion basically.
Correct.
And screaming.
Correct.
Alright then, let's see. Do I see anything directly surrounding me right now? Like any nasties around me, so any children like that?
Go ahead and make a perception check. There we go. Sorry, I was Nope.
Right. So as Kaiser sort of checks that the coast is clear, he harnesses his halberd back on his back, and he starts dashing towards the direction he heard the screaming from, the commotion from.
Okay, so as you do kind of like a triangulated, like where they're going to try and catch up, you ultimately see um, just a bunch of like silhouettes. You actually, with your dark vision, you can't really see that far. It's only 60 feet, so you have to get relatively close. Like you, more like you hear them, and maybe there's some areas of like where the moonlight is just right that you see like their silhouettes chasing after. These are like the things that are screaming, wailing, and just calling out like these kind of like horrific fucking noises and things. And you do see like a flicker where there's like a lantern, and you see the essentially just the backside of Quincy, like, and you see like the old man kind of draped over his shoulder as he's running for a brief second, and they like off out of line of sight. Are you attempting to be stealthy about like your presence, or you're
No.
just like dashing?
No, he's dashing. He is making his way towards it.
Okay. Very good.
And he's going to have his scimitar. He's going to be holding his scimitar while he's dashing through them. Because he is dashing. He's sort of booking it, so he knows that having his halberd out is not exactly practical and will be sort of a hazard for trying to catch up. But his scimitar is more wieldy, so he has that ready instead.
Okay. 10-4. So as you do that, you begin running through, and a couple of these silhouettes, because now they're on like the edge of your vision as you're getting closer. They appear to be these young children, but as you notice closer, you see taloned hands. You see just like the glimpse of this horrifically wide like jawline, and one of them turns to you. Another one turns to you, and they begin instead dashing towards you. Just a couple, like most of them are charging still towards them, but a few break off.
So roughly how many? Like 3, 4, 2? Roughly. 2. Okay. How far away?
They're like 60 feet at this point.
60 feet, okay. Let me just check something real quick. I believe scimitar is not a heavy weapon. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it is a light weapon. It is a
Yes,
light
it
weapon.
is. You can
Brilliant.
dual wield scimitars.
No. I only have one.
Well, I'm saying that you could dual wield them, which means they're
I know.
the light property.
Yeah, either way. So they're 60 feet. Okay, so Kaiser's going to keep dashing towards them, and as they get closer, so let's say, what would be the distance? It's maybe around 10 feet, like 5 to 10 feet, basically. That sort of, no, 10 to 15 feet, that sort of distance. So relatively close. He's going to think of it as like a throw, like a wide throw of the scimitar with one hand, and as he does that, he's going to unstrap and pull out his halberd with his other hand and sort of do this in one motion. So he throws out his scimitar towards, not really trying to slash them too much. It's more of like a distraction. If he happens to slash or do something with it, awesome. If he doesn't, no biggie. He wants to get his halberd out, and then he pulls out his halberd.
Okay, so we'll say this is mid motion as you're charging towards each other. Go ahead and make an
Yeah.
attack roll with the scimitar.
Oh, it hits, but I got the lowest damage roll possible. Makes
Okay,
sense.
so it's just enough to, like, as one of them dodges out of the way and it just ever so slightly gets like the clavicle just a little bit, like enough to slash it.
But
Yeah.
I was going to say, before you continue, is that a D6 with your dex or strength modifier?
It's D6 with Dex.
Yeah.
It's just a d6.
Well, it wouldn't matter anyway because my Dex is 0.
Okay, then yeah. I just wasn't sure because it rolled with +2. I wanted to make sure.
That's
Just
proficiency.
And
Just saying.
You-
if,
Yeah, he
you
rolled
have
an
zero
18.
dex,
It's
well, use
fine.
a finesse weapon.
Yeah,
well, the other thing is finesse weapons. You don't have to use dex, so he could use his strength and throw on this.
I know, but Dex, it makes sense for the scimitar because it's for him. It's an offhand weapon. Like it's again for these sort of things. It's more of like a distraction, or if he drops his halberd or he has to like react quickly, he pulls out his scimitar. His halberd is his main weapon. He doesn't really pay too much attention to it.
okay,
But
so
yeah,
you,
honestly, the attack will make sense. It hits
Yeah.
because it's relatively close range, but it wasn't really meant to do damage, so it makes sense really.
okay, so as you're charging forward, you do that. You guys meet in the middle, as this is kind of like one fluid thing. So you pull out your halberd. You're good. You used your action to throw this kind of like as a distraction. You did that. They come up to you, and I'm gonna roll. Yeah, I'll make this one attack. Okay, so as they both attack you together, I'm counting that as one slash from each is a total
That hits.
is a total for that. So you take 14 total damage as one of them kind of like pounces on you, and the other one kind of goes for more like your thighs and stuff. Again, because these are like small creatures. At this point, it's hard to tell if you've garnered the attention of any other ones, but go ahead, it's your turn.
By the way, they both attack me. So I'll do this at the one I hit with that got hit by the scimitar. Pop, my friend. I get to do this once per long rest, so.
So, strength saving throw for half. So they do take the half. Okay, so it's
So that
2d10 and then
10.
Yeah.
So that is 10 damage.
Yeah.
The one dodge.
And that is a reaction.
Okay. I'm just curious. So why are you casting it at higher level?
Because it's a second level. I can cast it as a second level spell. And that's the first.
Oh,
level
that's
saving
right.
throw.
Yeah. 'Cause you
So I can only cast it. Well, it's not that I choose, so I can only cast it at that level.
Okay. 10-4. Okay, so as you do that, poof, this creature gets like singed. The hair like begins to melt back, and the face kind of droops somewhat, and it just lets out again one of these hideous like.
You got your full turn because that was a reaction. Because Hellish Rebuke is awesome.
All
So
right.
I'm pretty sure it would be dexterity save. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just dragged the spell in. It's kind of
Okay. And then that's probably back.
I don't know.
All right. So go ahead. It's your turn.
Right. I am going to. Like this is all in one turn. So I take the scimitar out, throw it at them, pull out my halberd. They take some slashes at me as I'm doing that, and I sort of do the hellish rebuke. And basically immediately after the hellish rebuke, I just do a wide swing onto the creature I just did rebuke onto.
Okay,
my,
so there's no need.
halberd.
There's no need because that one is dead now.
Okay.
He is right because I thought that was weird, but I was just like, yep, strength, yep, made it. No, if it was a dex, he would have failed the dex.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know why it is a strength save. But it could.
I don't know. I think I might have misclicked something.
Yeah, it's
I'll
in the spell. It's
I'll
fine.
just change it real quick.
It doesn't matter. We know what it is.
I don't know. I'll just change it.
It is
There you go.
dex. It is dex.
Yeah,
and
yep.
it-
For sure, it's
Okay,
dex.
so-
So as that one claws at you, poof, and there's just like a charged cinder as it makes that squeal and then goes still.
Yep.
So now you go ahead. You make an attack at the second one.
That's going to be a halberd on him.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
hit.
And Divine Smite, motherfucker. On top of it.
Okay.
That's a spell slot to be expended, so there we go. So yeah, that's 11 slashing plus radiant.
Yeah, so essentially in the dark, there's like this poof, poof, poof of light as there's this quick exchange, and you notice as two more of them appear to break off from the pack. One of them is like a larger one at this point. There's essentially like the different sizes, say of the kids. The bigger ones appear to be like nastier looking, and then these younger children are running on all fours.
Right, so definitely the younger ones are more feral.
Correct. Yeah. So there appears to be one feral one and one big one. So, so as you do this, you can see this other one that you've just attacked is not looking so hot, but still goes ahead and attempts to pounce you. Go ahead and make a acrobatics or athletics, whichever is better for you.
That or athletics.
All right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so the first one. Okay, so boom, as you're knocked prone. You don't take any damage, it's just you're knocked prone, and this thing is kind of like on top of you.
Alright, and so he's on top of me, and I'm knocked.
You could still take an attack while you're prone.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay, so my turn, or is it the other
Correct.
thing?
Yeah, as you get knocked over, poof, you can feel the back of your skull like crack against the cobble, and then you look over to see these other silhouettes kind of charging towards you.
Right. He's going to throw. So he's on. So okay, never mind. Okay. He's going to do attacking with the halberd again. It's going to be like a shove on us. This is on top of.
Yep.
With
It
the
has,
halberd.
as you're prone, this has disadvantage.
Cool.
Just a heads up.
No problem.
Okay. So these are the little guys. Yeah, 11. I don't believe 11 is enough to hit. No. So again, it's a larger weapon. So as you're trying to attack with the halberd, this thing's just on top of you.
Yeah. It was more of a shove anyway. I was just trying to get him off me. Can I still attempt to pull him? No, that'll be more of that'll be an action one then.
Right.
That is. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it, really. Can't really do anything that's else.
Okay. So the you see the other ones as they begin. They come upon you, but they don't have enough to attack you yet. So they use all their movement to charge up to you. You see one more feral-looking creature, and another one is like one of these larger ones. And again, they're just coming up to you. The other one that is on you currently, it's just gonna essentially mounting kind of like on your chest, kind of like a someone in jiu-jitsu. He just starts clawing away at you. There doesn't seem to be any precision in the strikes. It's just like a savage kind of attempting to claw at you.
That does not hit,
Okay.
even with advantage.
All right, your go.
Right, he's going to attempt to shove him off. Would that be strength, athletics?
Yep. Athletics, or acrobatics, whichever is better for you.
What is it with my non-attack rolls?
Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be cool. Okay, so on their turn, unless do you have anything you can do as a bonus action?
You
Not
might have a
unless
spell.
not.
Actually, no, you're
No.
probably.
Now I have spells that I can hit, that I can use as bonus action, but they're not useful in this scenario.
Yeah.
Or a reaction?
I only have Hellish Rebuke.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so two of them are going to go ahead with this claw. This one attack is going to be for the two little guys that has advantage, but damage-wise.
It just hits. 16
Okay,
is
so
my
you take
AC.
16, and then there's
Jesus
another one, which is a big guy. So this is going to be the big guys.
Is that advantage or no advantage?
Yes, yeah. As you're prone, these all have advantage.
Then it hits. Rip.
Okay.
That fucking bash. I swear, man. Anything that's not an attack roll, I just fucking shit. Everything I've rolled here that hasn't been a shit.
Okay. Is that enough to drop you?
Yeah, that's 0.
Okay.
Damn it,
So-
Toasted, stop dying.
So as you see these creatures like mauling into you, the world just goes black. Don't worry.
I mean, I try not to. I try not to die, but when 2 nat ones like in the same roll, and then
Yeah.
it's 6 or something in things you're proficient in, like rip.
So that, fortunately for the other players, you also help tie into distracting them. So swapping back to Vernon and Quincy, you guys make your way back to the House of Palor. You lay Father Hartman down as Quincy begins pumping healing magics into him. Father Hartman kind of comes to.
And as like he's doing these procedures and doing his spells or whatever, Vernon kind of clutches his own wounds and goes, "Now, if you hadn't noticed, I'm also a little worse for wear, but that's not the point right now. I imagine that even though we got that far away from them, we don't have a lot of time here, because I imagine that they're expecting us to fall back here. We need to work quickly and try to regroup with some other people, because I doubt the two of us are gonna stand much of a chance against however many of them are around."
Okay. So as you make your way back and you're doing healing magics and stuff like that, he heals you for 10 with his cure or his hands, Healy hands, and he uses the cure wounds on Father Hartman, who comes to, and yeah. So as he comes to as you're saying this, and looks up at Quincy. Oh, we have to find the others. And he's just like, you can see he's like all fucked up. Even though he got some healing, he's still like worse for wear. He kind of sits up. Quincy gently sits him up.
Now, I recommend that we try to move on a little bit more subtly from here and start moving in the direction of the forest, doing a sweep over the town, similar to what we were doing with that Kaisa fellow. But, be a bit more observant for people. We need to regroup as well as we possibly can.
And with that, panning back to Throm. So you made your way to the Black Bricks. You went inside the house. Are you still with us? You're on mute.
Oh,
From.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, great.
Okay.
So, sorry, that was a little long-winded. I didn't think it was going to take that long. So, yeah, so you said you went in like that back door area. So as you attempt to open the door, it is certainly locked at this hour.
No, actually, I was gonna go up through the window that we came out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say so the window is it's shut,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll say you claw it open.
Just tiptoe in, go through the room, and I'm gonna peek down the steps to see if there's anybody down there.
There doesn't appear to be anyone down the steps.
Walk down. Nobody in the downstairs area.
No. You can see like the mess that was there has been picked up. It doesn't look like perfect. It just looks like, you know, she at least tidied up a little bit.
Staying there a while, would I know if Rosa and Chris stayed at the bed and breakfast?
Absolutely. This is like they lived here.
I'm gonna attempt to find Rosa.
Okay. It's not terribly difficult. You go
I
to
don't just
where you know
walk.
their room is. It is not locked. But if you wish, you may go in.
Yeah.
Okay. The door is open at this point because she doesn't think anybody's there. Obviously, and she's asleep. So again, just going with the awesome stealth roll and pass without a trace. It's still on. You see Rosa Blackbrick. She's kind of like, you can see there's like a handkerchief there, and she's kind of like clutching a pillow really tightly. Kind of looks like puffy-eyed.
Right. I'm gonna walk over to the side of her bed, lean over, and get my hand and put it over her face.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna whisper, "No witnesses." No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just put my hand over her face and like squeeze enough to wake her up.
So it takes a second because she's kind of like, "Hmm." And as she kind of lets out like a,
Shh, shh, shh. Just shh. And not trying to suffocate her, just cover her mouth to keep her from screaming. So I have like my finger on my lips, my other hand over her mouth.
yeah. So she begins like clawing at your hands, and then as you begin to like, you're giving her the signs like you need to calm down. She does so. She's like,
Mm-hmm. There you go. There you go. Very good. And I draw my sword from my back and I like slam it into the ground, which I'm assuming are wood floors.
yeah. So you
No.
splinter the floor a little bit.
I'm going to remove my hand from your mouth. I advise you not to scream. Yes?
She nods slowly.
As I like flick the sword. Good. Now to remove my hand from my mouth.
Okay. She kind of like quivers back.
Your word. Good. Now, I feel I have some explaining to do, but first, and I'm gonna like put my hand on her, and something gave me this idea. In a moment. Dark energy is gonna coalesce from me and wrap around her.
Okay. Actually, okay. So as you do that, she's like, no, no. And then after a few seconds, she.
Edward,
I don't understand. And she kind of like looks off, like almost as if she's looking like through you or past you, and then looks to you with alarm. How could I forget? You.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But
Everything that you're thinking now is true. It's okay though. She got to you and everyone in the town, but Jerome will fix.
but then that means that Chris, and she begins weeping.
Oh, yes, he's probably very much dead. I did not kill him. That was not him in the alley.
Yeah,
But
her face like scrunches up as like her face goes beet red, and she just like pulls a pillow to her face and like, but she
Yeah.
nods like she acknowledges.
that I didn't kill him in the alleyway.
Right.
It appears the lady has returned. You do not think it's wolves that attacked the town, right?
She slowly nods. No.
Good. Unfortunately, I can only do this one more time today. Not enough to free the whole town. Come, get dressed. So I get up and pick up my sword and sheath it. I feel we have work to do.
And with that, she's like, yeah, she dusts herself off, and she has like a nightgown on right now, and she begins like picking clothes out. She just
I'm
puts
gonna
on, like,
leave.
Yep.
I'm gonna let her get dressed and leave the room and close the door and walk out to the main area. And as I do, just gonna kind of to myself fiddling with my symbol. Just she's getting on my nerves. Oh, lady, why don't you come and play?
Fucking
Your
drum just got really creepy.
children call you. Why do you run away? As I'm just kind of waiting for Rosa to come out, just singing it to myself. Talking to her because I know she can hear me.
Yeah, a few minutes later, it doesn't take her long. She's like running around the room, like frantically getting dressed, and she comes out. She's like wiping her eyes, and I'm ready.
All right. Come, we'll go to the church. I feel that the father or Quincy will fight this thing off.
And she nods in agreement. She follows you. You have free reign. You may go out the window. You may go out the door.
I'm gonna go out the front door.
Okay. Yeah, so she follows through. On her way out, she grabs a coat. It's a little bit chilly out, and again, she's like wiping her eyes, and you can see almost like a look of what was like despair and sadness is like shifted into anger. You know, like bitterness in her face, and yeah, she follows you through as you guys make your way to the church. Is there anything you're looking to do in the interim? Or are you just like beelining for the church?
For now, I'm gonna beeline for the church.
Okay. So you begin making your way to the church. All right. So now going back to Zlatoda and Eldrin. So you guys make your way to the church, and
Yes.
you get there just in time. As you open the door, you see Father Hartman on the ground. You see Quincy laying over him, trying to pump some sort of healing magics into him, and you see Vernant kind of like, what the fuck, dude? He's just got like his hands on his head.
And what happened here?
We went on a little bit of an adventure. There was a religious figure of some sort who came and tried to help us take a look around town for you people. And we ended up getting attacked by a lot of little munchkins that's with talons and maws. And the father is looking worse for wear, and as am I. And we decided to come back here for some reason.
As he mentioned this, I just say to him, have you seen Conrad around here by any chance?
No, but Martha is missing. So,
Yeah, that kind of figures.
I just go eerily silent. I'm just like,
I don't think I make the connection, but mention that. Yeah. Things are rough right now. Part of why we left is to try and find Martha, and all we found was pain.
as soon as it says this, I just turn to him and say, last time I saw you, you were puking your guts out. So how are you so lively right now?
This figure who came, he was a tiefling of some religious repute, actually healed me. He had some kind of healing magics. I'm not entirely sure the nature of it. You could ask the father or Quincy yourself.
Well,
I'm still not feeling 100%, but at least the effects of whatever ailment are gone for the moment. And we don't know where that paladin, that whatever he was, went. He kind of split off from the group after when we were getting attacked, and he never found us again, or we never found him. If I would assume, I would assume the worst. He was alone.
I just pull up the roots that I currently have in my possession and just put it on the ground or somewhere on a surface nearby.
Oh yeah, the roots. That's useful. Now.
Well, just in case we ever get poisoned again, we still have something to cure it.
That's true.
If
Well,
it's the same poison.
Well, I see two options here. Both of them are not particularly good. We can leave this temple and look around for better places to go and start looking around for Martha, or we can wait for whatever threats to come to us and probably perish after a rather long and arduous holdout.
Well, we wouldn't know what is up.
They probably know we're here.
Meanwhile, we don't know squat about where they are.
Yeah.
Keep in mind as well, so as you're saying this, it's just barely beginning to get light out.
Okay.
I note the sunrise and it's saying, unfortunately, over half the town still suspects that we killed someone. It's not like we can move around during broad daylight.
I mean, I can try and make myself look a little different, and and I could try and help you guys as well, but so getting spotted is not as much of a problem as it might seem, but you have a point.
Honestly, I wouldn't know what to do at this moment. But I do know that I need to regain my magic, as I used up a lot of it in our earlier skirmish.
I see you guys have had it rough too.
So those are our options, basically: run, stand and fight, or try and
Search and
find
destroy.
out.
Yeah, search and destroy.
Yes, I suppose those are our only options. And does any of you feel like jumping on your own swords?
Do not be ridiculous.
So as you guys debate what your options are and come up with a good game plan, Throm, you and Rosa get to the church. As you enter the facility, again you see like essentially like a round table kind of discussion going on. Most of them look a little worse for wear.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Throm.
Well then.
Ah, shit. Well, that explains why I was talking to myself. As I walk in, say, "Geez, what happened to you guys?"
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Rosa, come in.
And I looked at Aldrin and I'm like, I really don't feel like explaining all of that again.
Yeah, it's okay. Throm didn't really care. He just ushers Rosa in. I think I figured something out. As I kind of usher Rosa in, she's cured for now from the charm, but don't know how long it'll last.
Interesting.
So, what
and
have
at,
you?
and at this, Vernon kind of walks up and is like, so you're kind of filled in on all that's going on and quite alright, I would hope. Speaking to Rosa.
Yes, I'm suppose I'm okay for the moment. Thank you.
Okay. We have a lot of work to do. We have an enemy who seems to have kidnapped several of our friends, and someone quite close to you, I would imagine, who we don't know where they are. They likely know we're here, and most of this town probably has it out for us. Circumstances are not great right now.
I see.
And we were just debating our options of whether we stay and face waves and waves of these enemies until eventually something happens, or we die, or we leave and wander around and look for wherever they're hiding, or we don't really know what we do.
Well,
Hey, Rosa, do you remember your foggy memories, like the altered one? Not the ones that actually happened, but the ones that you were made to believe happened.
Yes, and do you have any suspicion of how long your husband has been not himself. These creatures seem to be quite skilled impersonators, but I have to imagine that there's some flaw in their mask.
It's all a bit fuzzy, really. But I remember the story. It's strange. It's like I can remember two things, but I know that one's fake. It's very odd.
Was there anything that you could think of that would be useful to us?
More specifically, in that fake memory, do you remember a cave? I know the others said that they had to go to a cave to fight the lady, but do you remember a cave in the wolf story?
Yes, the den that's in the forest. I can only assume it's the same as the den of the lady.
Do you feel like that has any relevance in the current situation?
I can't say I know what it is. I had only heard in both stories, real and imagined.
Did anyone go to check the cave? You hear stories of wolves attacking. You'd usually want to check the cave for any kind of like pups or anything.
Well, in the implanted memory, if you will. Yes, we went through. It also seems to match the same as the real memory after the lady had been dealt with several times. Squads had been sent out.
Interesting.
Was your husband part of any of these squads?
No,
No.
it was all the guardsmen from Volstand.
Was there ever any time when your husband might have gone out for an extended period of time and been a target? I mean, it seems like you have most of the things you need right at home.
She shakes her head, and you can see as she begins to tear up a little bit. No way.
I know this must be rather hard for you, but we just really need all we can get here to try and make this right.
I never knew any different. Who knows? And at that, she's kind of like trying to hold back from like sobbing.
Do you know of any other?
One very useful.
Do you know of any other caves that have been found around this town?
Yes, that's a good question.
She nods, like no, and it's mostly flatlands, crops, farm. There's not caverns or caves, really.
Then our best bet would actually be check the cave again. If they're able to alter memories, they can probably alter what's found in the cave.
And also, it's safe to mention that when me and the large human Quincy were exploring, we happened to find a little rundown house that we thought was suspicious because it looked like people had been living in it. And we went in there, and there were children who turned out to be not very much children anymore. And there were a lot of them. They chased us out. Now, we've seen a handful of these rundown houses, and we don't know if any of them, if all of them are lived in. But if they got chased out of that cave, then it's presumable they might have taken up a more urban residence, considering there's so many houses that are in disuse. And one thing that I wonder is... Totally forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
So we've got a cave that, due to the memory-altering magic, we have no actual knowledge of what's inside.
Oh,
We have abandoned buildings that we know at least one has someone in it, but we don't know if they've moved or if the others have anything. And since they can shapeshift, we also have no clue if any are living inside buildings.
and that this kind of Vernon looks to Rosa again and goes, now there are some extensive resources in this town. I've seen some people on guard around, and obviously a lot of people live here. If we can attempt to clear our name, which I imagine would not be easy, considering a lot of people are brainwashed, there are a lot of resources that would be available to us again.
Well, we also don't know how this magic works.
Yes, but Rosa, if there is anything you could think of that you could do to try and help us not be criminals, then that would probably be very useful. I know I'm asking a lot of you here, and you probably don't have anything that you could really do, but it's worth a shot, because you're the only person in this room, besides the two priests, that is not going to be put on a stake and burned if we try to walk out there and somebody realizes who we are.
I'll certainly support you, but, well, I'm afraid it might not be enough. But if Throm can perhaps persuade several other important people, there might be enough voice in the village to convince the others.
Just based on your demographic here, looking at the politics and the power structure, who do you think is more resourceful to turn to? The mayor and the small government, or the guard?
Well,
In a situation like this, who would have more sway?
well, I think perhaps getting with your old friend Ragnar. But then at that, she's like shakes her head and like points to the original party members. Your friend, compatriot. Perhaps that may be useful as he runs the guard here now. But if he was your compatriot, then I'm not sure how that would work. I don't know how much voice he would have.
Well, it sounds like a better shot than nothing if we don't have anywhere to go. But that's definitely an option, I suppose, is getting reinforcements.
There are also several powerful families in Utsad that own much of the land here. They may be voices as well.
And at this, Verdant kind of gets a little bit of a grin on his face and is like, well, I don't think many of them will like us very much. Depends on what exactly their business is, but that's also, I suppose, an option. Although the guard is local, probably wouldn't take too long to get over there. But at least we have more options.
I'd like to point out, I can only do this once more today.
Which is why we should find the most important person that we can get our hands on.
We also need to find someone with strong enough sway that when we talk to them and they know the truth, they'd be able to spread the truth. Someone who's got money but no actual power, or someone who's got position but no actual following, serves no
Well-
purpose.
Well, I imagine that the public here has good respect for the guard, who's been put in place to probably, by their imagination, protect them from further animal attacks, but the truth were let out that they're here to guard against supernatural forces. That would be even stranger.
Or the fact, as was just stated, the head of the guard is a friend of the people they believe just murdered someone. Be a bit weird if your friend who has control of the people with the swords start telling you, hey, this is the truth, and you need to believe it.
I feel like it's our best bet, because even if they can't sway the people, these are people with equipment and supplies and numbers. Even if they
think
can't
you
turn the
misunderstand the situation. I think you misunderstand the situation. This is more than. This would need more than persuading minds. This is magics at work.
Yes.
I do not think one influential person speaking will change anyone's mind, unfortunately.
I agree. Which is why I'm saying that we go to the people with weapons and with power here. If they can't help us sway the public, then they can help us take action.
But that leads to the first problem of truth and swaying. We may fix the spell on a single person, but when
Yes.
the majority believes against that person, one sword, even if he's a higher position,
Yeah.
doesn't stand too well against 50 who also have swords.
I'm just saying this is one of our options here.
It's a good idea, but frankly, I think everyone here is under the spell. I don't think it's a matter of persuasion, but a matter of breaking the spell. You may have
Speaking,
to.
I reckon then that we need to start looking.
speaking of not having altered memories or having altered memories, why do these two, I'm going to point to the father and Quincy, because I wasn't here for that full conversation. Why do these two not have altered memories?
They look to each other and then look back to you. And the father says, I noticed something strange going on. Not everyone seems to be quite under the spell, although the number's growing by the day. I can only assume it's the will of the Dawn Father, or possibly just the fact that I do not go out late at night. I know not.
Those who are not fully under its effects yet, are they more your zealous, come to the church often kind of people?
It's not as though I even know every person who's been influenced by this yet. But you see them. They wander. They look strange. Distant look in their eye. And now that I know what to look for, I see it growing every day.
Bring them. If you find one during the day, lead them here. We're going to test multiple things. First is whether it's your God protecting you, specifically, or if it's your god protecting this ground. If you can
That
bring
is-
those who are odd, but not under the control fully yet here, and they get better, without praying, without kneeling or anything, it's the land. If you can bring them here and convince them to pray and they feel better, then it'll be the work of your God to those who ask.
He nods.
Well,
Perhaps. Many people, I would say, I dare say, most, at least stop by. It is not uncommon, at least once a week. Many here pay their dues and their respects to the Dawn Father, for he gives all that we have.
we could probably test that now. And I look to Rosa and I'll drop the protection from good and evil.
There seems to be no change in her mannerisms or anything like that.
Do you remember what happened?
She nods. Yes. The old memories, the new ones as well. I remember it all.
Is it hazy still?
She nods. It is. Again, I've never experienced anything like it. The images are still in my mind, but I know which ones to be true.
Alright. Just to make sure, while you're here, you might want to make a prayer to your God.
Now, I reckon we should take a little consensus here and see what everybody thinks we should do.
Well, where's Martha?
Taken.
That is one thing that we do not know.
That-
She went missing, apparently.
That
What?
Conrad probably got here before us. Or someone else.
I was a little flustered, flabbergasted. That'd been nice to mention a long time ago. And it's kind of, where was she? I'll track her.
Upstairs. Probably brought down this way. I mean, she was there when we left her. Gone when we
So-
got back.
So Conrad has
Right.
been acting strangely, I guess. We have reason
Con-
to
Or I'm gonna push
suspect
past and head upstairs.
Yeah,
we have
Conrad.
reason to suspect is not himself.
At least the one that we were with. I don't know where actual Conrad is. But if you see him, don't trust him.
Or I'm gonna push past, head upstairs, and from wherever she was laying on out, try to find anything, trace.
Go ahead
Oh.
and do an investigation check with advantage
Yeah, I was
because
gonna
you know kind of the story.
Yeah, I was gonna go up there and help.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead, Throm. Go ahead and make a investigation with advantage.
Got it. I don't know why I'm down here.
Go ahead and roll. No, just it's fine. I'm just gonna give it to you. It's just so lame. Anyway,
Please,
so
I've been alone for so long.
so as you're investigating, you see again like the mat is like it's not zipped open or like it's like almost like it's been flayed open. There's no blood or anything, but it's like kind of like soaked still, like it has like a sweat shadow on it. Where she was just like sweating profusely. There's like the bowl, the towels, and everything where she was being cared for, and you can see with the there's like a foot impression into like the top right of the sleeping roll, um, and then as you kind of like follow it, it arcs over and then over and out the door. You can just vaguely see like where the middle of the attic is, where you guys were walking back and forth. You've like taken the dust off, if you will, but outside of that, there's like a layer of dust. So watching that, you can see these kind of like weird footprints, and kind of behind them is like every now and again you see like some dragging lines. Following those down the steps. Now that you kind of know what you're looking for, you look around like the side walls and see like little nicks here and there that indicate that she was taken down the stairs. And you go out the where like the altar is, and down and out the door.
How long has passed between us getting to the town and now? Am I still within my hour of pass without trace?
I would say it's like, yeah, it's essentially up. Unless you wanted to do something that's going to take like 5 minutes or less.
No, I was just gonna. If it was still up, I was gonna stealth so I can keep following Throm. We can't exactly walk around in the open right now.
Yeah, the Throm's gonna walk around in the open.
He's going out the door, so it's time for me to follow.
I'll follow the tracks, especially outside the oven.
Okay, so just so you're aware, just because of all the talking and everything, it is certainly like the sun is up. It's morning time. This is a farming town, so there are quite a few people now coming out of their homes.
I suppose if Throm and Zatoda are leaving, then Vernon probably goes with them.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out if
I blanked out for a second.
I'm just trying to figure out if I have to cast Pass Without Trace one more time or not.
Mhm.
If it's still within the hour I cast it, or...
Yeah, you guys have been planning, and you also had to like walk here from the edge of town and stuff. So I would say no, unless you were doing something that was like an immediate. I would let it roll over, but
Yeah, like I said, since Throm's walking out the door, I am stealthing behind him.
okay, very well.
That's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure out whether that's the +10 or not.
No. If you're following him out down the street like you're gonna go do something, then no.
No, I am stealthing behind him. He's already walking. Throm's already walking out the door down the street, so I'm going to stealth to keep with him. But I don't want to be just walking out in the open.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth roll. What I'm saying is that spell is fading. It's faded. So what I was just saying is, okay, maybe for the first like half block, you kind of have it on, but for any sort of extended period of time, no.
That's what I was trying to figure out, but he just kept saying it 5 minutes. It's like, I'm not sure what you're referring to 5 minutes for.
Essentially,
Yeah,
I didn't know what you were asking for, so before I said yes or no, if it was something like really simple that was not going to take any amount of time, I would have perhaps been like, okay, yes. But this, no.
And if I'm following them, I'm not sneaking. I'm doing performance to try and mask and disguise myself.
So that'll be a 23.
So what exactly are they doing? Because like I said, I just blanked out for a second.
Throm did an investigation, is walking through the door to follow the tracks to Martha, like I was trying to figure out. So I am sneaking behind him.
I'm doing a performance check to try and disguise myself a bit, and I'm following them.
Okay, absolutely.
Basically, like changing my hair, putting my hair back, and tying it into a kind of loose ponytail, and messing with my clothes and just changing my overall appearance as best I can.
Okay. Anyone else going with them?
Is Eldrin there?
Eldrin is here.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of taking a 1 hour non-intensive activity thing, so I can get my spell slots back.
Okay. I mean, you would know that we're leaving, right?
Yeah, but I probably won't speak too much. I'll probably just walk along with you guys, but not making too much of an effort.
I don't know if a short rest can be done that way, but sure.
I mean, it's something not intensive, right? That's how I understood it.
I don't know. It's up to Dylan, I guess.
So yeah, I can just walk along with you guys wherever you go. I just can't pay attention to anything in my surroundings.
Yeah, I would say like
And also, he's probably
This was
trusting on
like-
the end of the short rest because we were talking for so long.
yeah, but from when he said it, from how long you've been talking, I would say there's still about like 25 minutes or so left.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you guys could either
so I'll
wait.
just be
You
like
guys
normal
could
citizen.
either wait for him to finish his rest and then head out, or I would say if you're trying to walk, I would maybe allow like, I don't know, like a walk around the, I don't know. If they're actively like they're investigating, they're like trying to do this, then I don't know if I would consider that a casual walk in the sense of like, you know, just taking a leisurely stroll around the block and like kind of not really paying attention. I think it's really pushing the bounds of what you could do in a short rest.
Well, it's up to them. Because I'm intending on finishing a short rest, so I'll probably like, stay put for a few more minutes. However else long I need to go.
Okay, are you guys gonna wait for him to finish his rest, or are you gonna go?
I mean, From's already walking out, so I'm following.
Yeah, you guys have that leisure. I don't. I need my spell
I'll
slots.
work on the assumption that they asked Throm to wait, who's
Alright.
agreed impatiently. Fine.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, so as you kind of like, you spend the time like trying to recharge, reconnect to the Feywild, reconnect to Titania, and as you do so, you feel the energy kind of coalesce and settle inside you, and you are refilled. Yeah, well, that's also why I'm trying to be strict about it, because that's the thing, you can't just rest before everything, so you're at 100% every time. But if you guys are waiting, great. Yeah, so by the time
Yeah, sure.
you wait, now, like, things are in full swing. There's, you know, everybody's out and about at this point.
I'm sort of they're on the tracks. Are you done? To Eldrin. Good. Let's go. And I'm going to continue to try to follow the tracks.
Well, low spell slots is why warlocks have powerful cantrips. Anyway,
How many dice rolls have you known me to ace?
that is true. Anyway, yeah, I imagine that we continue on.
Yep.
Okay, so, yeah. Any semblance of stealth? Besides
I'm
Like I
still-
said,
the
like I
totem?
said,
stealthing.
I'm disguising myself as well as I can, trying to be unrecognizable.
So we got that 23 stealth, 19 performance.
I'm gonna run a little experiment and just walk around as if I own the place, not even bothering to stealth. I'm gonna see how the citizens react.
Okay. Throm, what are you doing? You're actively investigating, looking for tracks.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and make another investigation, but this time with advantage. Well, I suppose it was at advantage before. But this is a little less obvious given the circumstance.
Nat 20s.
Wow.
Double nat 20s.
Wow. Okay,
Throm
so
is
just hold
focused on finding Martha.
hold the nice. That was clutch. Okay, so
Half bloodhound.
as you're doing that, a lot of people are scuffing up what would be the tracks if the tracks weren't just coincidentally out of the normal range of traffic. So this is kind of what allows you to navigate so quickly. And as you're kind of like skulking about and you're looking, you're finding all the right signs. You're finding where, like, poof, where maybe Martha's foot or some limb kicked up a little bit of like dust and cobble and dirt here and there, or you see like a little piece of cloth, things like that. You're taking the trail, and you're leading back, and ultimately you. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think because of what Eldrin said. Okay. So yeah, so you're following all the right things. About I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes into this, you see a couple of people look at Eldrin strangely, and you notice as a couple of them like scamper off down the street.
A couple of them scamper off.
Yeah, a couple of them, they look at you. They obviously like lock eyes with you, and then like they scamper off.
At this, Vernon kind of walks up to Eldrin and like kind of says quietly to him, "If anybody approaches us and tries to say anything to you or about you, let me speak, please."
Well, I was kind of expecting them to just jump me the moment I show myself all over this street.
Well, apparently they're being a bit more subtle, and if anybody wants to try to accuse you of anything, we need to rely on our guile and wits to get us out of it. Let's not start any fights in the middle of the street with random people who are brainwashed to not know any better.
So as you guys do this banter back and forth, you can see already these people are beginning to come back, and there are more people. They have definitely gotten not a I wouldn't say a huge crowd, but you see there's a couple of guards, as well as a couple extra townsfolk.
Mm-hmm. We continue moving on a bit more quickly. I
At this point,
imagine.
Throm has not stopped searching. He's still following whatever trail it is.
I'm just continuing to walk at a pace as if I own the place.
Okay, all right. So, Throm, ultimately, you come across again an abandoned house, and it appears to be the same one. Vernant, you recognize it. This is the same place that you were last night.
Okay.
For sure, definitely. Nobody appears to be kicking around at first glance, and then afterwards you do see kind of like behind the house, like there's a couple of kids playing like ball.
Vernon kind of mentions them. This is the house that me, Quincy, and Father Hartman had discovered yesterday, and it is probably crawling with all sorts of terrible things inside. I recommend all of you to be ready for whatever we find in there. And if you see any children acting strangely inside or around, they're not children anymore. Remember that.
I'm good to
So
go.
we arrived at that
I'm
place
like-
without incident.
I'm
So
gonna kick the
I'm
doors in off and just
so I'm saying that Throm has found this place, and there's that, but yeah, these people are actively coming after you, Eldrin.
Yeah.
I was really trying not to steal the thunder of the two nat 20s, but I kind of had to, unfortunately. So yeah, they approach you. A couple of guards come right up to you, Eldrin, and you need to come with us.
Can I help you?
We've been warned that you may have been involved in a murder at the Black Bricks residence. Multiple people have seen you there.
Oh, I assure you, I've done no such thing.
And
Can
at this kind of walks up and is like, "Yes, I imagine that people are mistaken, friends."
Well, it's possible they are. I mean, heroes like yourself, you did help us with those wolves, but
And
Fortunately,
we've
this is
actually
not
heard-
this is not a matter in which I'm asking. You're coming with us.
as they're talking, Throm kicks the door in.
As you can see, we are a little bit busy trying to find some missing people. If you won't mind coming back a little later.
They draw their swords. We're not asking again.
You realize that we're trying to help you here, and you are not helping us.
How many guards are there?
There's 2 guards, and then there's about 6. Yeah, I'd say probably 6 civilians.
Dylan, can I ask something?
Some of them
From
are
approximately where I am, how far would it be from where I am to the roof of the building? And is the roof flat enough for me to stand on it?
This place is fucking decrepit, but I would say you're within range to poof up to the roof if you'd like.
Does it look stable enough?
Make a perception check.
Oh.
Looks,
Okay.
it's a roof. I mean, there's a part that's kind of sunken in, but maybe if you land on the other side.
Okay, not doing the roof. Okay. So it's just 2 guards, right?
All right, yeah, I'm counting down from 5. Tell me what you want to do, or else they're taking you into custody.
I'm grabbing
5,
Vernad and
4,
just
3,
using this spell
2,
and teleporting behind Ron.
1. Okay.
Ah,
All right. So, each creature within 10 feet of the space you left must make a Constitution saving throw. All right, absolutely.
And I can take the
So-
creature with me when I teleport.
So
So
he grabs
Vernad's
me.
not better.
okay.
Yeah,
wait,
so literally grab your hand, boom.
one willing
Also
creature.
18.
Okay. Okay. So, as you do that, go ahead and roll 3d10 thunder damage.
They already rolled the damage, didn't it?
Oh yeah,
yes.
sorry, I didn't see that. Underneath.
Ouch.
Okay, so as you look back, there's literally a crowd of dead people.
They left me no choice. As I reappear.
And with that is Lat. Going through the shadows and alleys, and I am gone.
Okay.
Combination
What the-
of my stealth and the stealth you let me go 10 feet in the open.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm leaving.
You're a shadow in the night.
Which is a bit weird being the shadow in the day.
That's right. So, yeah, so you make your way, you peace out after that, leaving behind just really a mess of parts and
And a
just,
very loud boom.
yeah,
I
and a
didn't
very
leave a
loud
mess.
boom. So,
I didn't leave a mess. I left where the mess happened.
All right.
so where exactly were you, Zlatoda?
I was around by the side of the house. I'm trying to stick to shadows, so I'm not standing out in front of it with Throm and the others. I've been sticking to shadows and between buildings as much as I can.
All right, absolutely.
Is Throm
Lawful,
sees this?
lawful neutral, lawful neutral, lawful neutral people don't just slaughter people. That means they follow the law.
Not necessarily. It's following my own
I-
agenda, and I
can
do have an
tell.
agenda.
No,
I can tell you right now, that is not a Batman mode.
No, no, it's not.
No,
Anyway,
it's,
again, I don't look at alignment anyway. I'm just saying that's not what lawful neutral is. But anyway, so yeah, you peace out, Latoda. Throm, poof, you kick in the door, and you're met. It's like a rickety kind of like hallway. It goes left and right, and you can see the right opens up into like maybe like a den sort of area. But again, there's kind of like the left side of the building. A lot of it's kind of sunken in. It's taken some structural damage for sure. Seems to be somewhat run down.
Did
And,
this damage it any further?
Seeing, like looking back, seeing that, I'm like, I just like shake my head. Oh, fucking messy.
and
And I'll
as
yell up to the roof,
yeah.
"Are you coming?" And I'll walk into the house.
You don't have to shout. I'm right behind you.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can go up to
that's
the
right. I
roof.
thought
but
you went up to the
behind
roof.
you.
That's right. Well, I'll
I
shout
don't
anyway.
trust the roofs. I just teleport behind you.
Shout anyway.
Okay, so you walk into the house. That's what I'm saying. So you're in,
Yeah.
like, you can go left or right.
Oh.
It's kind of like a thinner corridor.
Can I still
As-
see where the tracks were leading into the house?
You see a lot of stuff is kicked up. There's like debris and stuff. It's a little bit harder to track in here. You don't see any sort of signs per se, like right here. That's why I'm asking, like, if you're gonna go left or right. The left seems to be like sunken down in. The right you can see like, opens up to what you believe is possibly like a den area. Also, Vernant was here last time.
Yeah, and
Oh.
as we walk in, Vernon goes, "There's a handful of different hallways. The house is rather decrepit, and these are skittery little pricks. So don't get yourself surrounded."
I just smile at Vernon saying, "It's very hard to surround me, as you just saw."
I mean, how many more times can you do that today?
Once more. So I think I'll be good for one more surrounding event.
Okay.
So, where do we go then? To the left or to the right? Let's draw my sword.
Okay, like I know that From probably just asked this, but which side looks like it's seen more activity?
They seem about the same. Like looking again, there's like rubble strewn across the floor, and there's it's just nasty looking. But you know from where you came from the right side. That's like the room that you started to go in, and then you're like, nope, 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 and you got out. Where you saw like the fireplace.
I suppose we should go right. There appears to be some kind of a den back there.
Well, by all means, let's go greet these horrible creatures.
And it's not a very big place. It's not like we're gonna get lost. Well,
Right it is. Good. Okay. Let's go.
Okay, so as you go to the right, you see a fireplace that is like, again, it's littered with like all sorts of debris and stuff. The embers are just like barely like they're like that white, and you can just barely see like a little bit underneath of ember. And right to the other side of the fireplace, you see it's almost like a hole's been punched in the floorboards. It's like maybe 3 or so feet diameter. Looking around the room, there's like a couple of old chairs and like a couch that have been just like stuffed in here. A lot of them actually seem to be torn up, almost as if like a large cat had been at work.
mhm.
Is there anybody in the room?
No.
Do I hear any activity like I have heard before?
You don't hear all the skittering and stuff that you heard last night. It
At
appears
this-
to be
at-
abandoned. But
At this, Vernon kind of looks at the hole in the floor and is like, "This is about the right size for them, whatever you want to call them."
So is there any direction to go, I guess, in that room outside of out and into the left room?
Huh?
okay, so in that den area, so you see a bunch of like toys and stuff littered around too as well, which is kind of strange. There is in the back of the room on the opposite side of the fireplace, there's a stairwell going up to the second story. And then you see this fireplace, you see a couple of pieces of furniture in the room, and then you see like this big hole that's been like punched in the floorboards.
Oh, the hole. Okay, I didn't hear the part about the hole. Gotcha. That's like them going down through the floor through.
Yeah, it's like a 3-foot diameter. It's like somebody punched a hole essentially through the floorboards. You can see there's some sort of like burrow underneath.
Gotcha. Well, as I look to Eldrin, this look familiar.
Quite.
It seems the bitch has a new den.
Well,
I mean, me and the elf shouldn't have a problem fitting down there.
The question is, would Thrawn be able to fit down?
yeah, you are a bit bulky on the chestal region.
The burrow's actually slightly larger under the floorboards, but I would say you could squeeze through it. It'd be really tight. It'd be kind of like claustrophobic, but
And the floorboards are not as strong as Throm.
Yeah. I figure it's pretty much like the first time we have to go through.
yeah, pretty much.
Alright, who's going first?
I guess maybe we let Throm go down first because he'll have the hardest time.
Sure, and if he gets stuck, we can get him unstuck. Probably.
I mean, worst case scenario would just fall on top of him and hope for the best.
Yes. But first, and I'm gonna go up the stairs and check upstairs first.
Is there a second floor? What?
You see a couple of like one of the rooms is like pretty much completely sunken in, and the other side you see like what appears to be maybe like a master bedroom or something up there, but the bed is kind of like tilted to one side, like the top part of the mattress is like halfway off. You see like some of these claw marks. Again, there's like a couple of like weird kind of like an old doll that's like just like the porcelain head, and then like a couple of like balls or like ABC blocks and stuff like that.
All right. Make my way. I wish I'd had some oil. Burn them out.
I mean, it's not like the area is not inflammable. Our friend here probably has some kind of fire. But I don't feel like that's the most practical solution.
So as you guys are investigating now at this point, you look over because you're like on the second floor or whatever, and you can see there's quite a few people coming towards your location. Like, it's not like they see you eye contact, but you can see like people are like starting to swarm.
And Vernon kind of looks around and is like, because obviously when you get some weeds in your garden, you don't set the garden on fire. Kill the weeds.
Whatever we do, I suggest we do it quick.
I'm gonna grab him by the shoulders and like drag him down the stairs. All right, we go down the hole fast. Eldrin, you
Seriously.
first.
Sorry. Alright, zoop.
Rolando, go.
Yeah.
Down.
And as you go, like the last thing you see is just like quite a few guards, and you see Ragnar kind of coming up, and he's just shaking his head as he's like looking over just the mess.
Yeah, well.
I'm just saying, if you get a chance, fucking cast that spell on Ragnar. Saying. I don't- maybe.
Cast what?
Cast your spell on Ragnar if you get the chance. I don't know.
Oh,
I can't make any suggestions to you because I can't
No.
talk to you about that. But whatever.
So as you descend, it goes down and down and down, and it begins winding. It's not quite as straight as the first one you remember, but it's like like roots kind of brush against your face, and you begin to feel claustrophobic. The earth begins becoming like cooler and cooler the further you get underground. You travel this way for what seems to be ages, like 20, 25 minutes, and
Wow.
right, because most of you can't see. Well, you have light spells, so again,
I do.
yeah, it's you don't see any people, but it's like, when is this gonna end? And then you finally get to where you can see it begins to open up into a cavern, and you, as you kind of like fall out, there's a slight drop, as there was with the first one. You kind of like fall on your face or your side or whatever, and you kind of like roll to get up.
Just like old times, yes? Did Zlatota come down with us?
No, he did not.
No.
He laughed.
We wouldn't know, I guess.
I mean, to us, the toad just disappeared.
Yeah.
You said what? I didn't hear.
To us, he just disappeared.
Oh. Well. Do we see any tunnels?
Yeah, so sorry, I just wanted to narrate until you like plop down. Okay, so you guys plop down, swapping over, switching gears. Zlatoda, so what are you doing? You said you're just piecing out.
Yeah, I'm. First things first, if I can find them and they're nearby, if the caravan's still here, I'm sending them out.
Oh,
I need
absolutely,
them to leave.
they are.
Yeah, I'm. It's probably the only time I'm gonna do one of these. Hold on, refresh roll. Will it let me do it? All right. Well, Zlat's hopping on the caravan. We're leaving.
All right. Adieu. So
This is nuts. And fighting the thugs was one thing, because it was protecting himself and protecting others. But watching this person he's been traveling with just straight up obliterate like 5+ people. He's not. That's just murder. He's out. There's no. Killing is one thing. Just flat out murder is another. He's done. He doesn't trust these people anymore.
Okay. Absolutely. So you make your preparations, you go outside of town, you tell everybody what's going on and that it is not safe for the clan. Everybody understands, and they pack up and begin heading north. Alright. So,
Martha's going to be so pissed when she wakes up.
Martha, when you wake up, I was actually like just about to do that, so it's weird.
Oh, thank God. I've been sitting here playing West of Loathing for like 3 hours. Okay.
So, you come to very groggily, and you're laying down, kind of like in a nest of like like refuse, like rags and like straw and like whatever sorts of things. It's some sort of rough bed that's been made for you. And as you open your eyes slowly, you feel like shit. Um, but you can feel like you seem a little bit better than before you went to sleep. Before you passed out, it seems like whatever was inside you has run its course. But as you come to, um, you just look around and you can feel a hand kind of like go brush your hair back. As you open your eyes, you see Conrad standing over you. Hello, Martha. Good morning.
Conrad, oh, thank goodness you're here. Wait. She sort of pats where she is and feels all the rags and sort of looks around. Where are we?
He kind of like tries to shush you a little bit. You got to stay quiet, Martha. We don't want him to find us. And he looks around the room.
Find us. She is whispering at this point. Who? Shit. Who am I king? I know who. Where are we?
I don't know. It seems like we're somewhere possibly underground. Besides this, well, little bit of light, the rest is all darkness. There's passages that go every which way.
How did I get down here? I was in the church.
He shakes his
How
head.
did you get down here?
I had grabbed your bags. It's the last thing I remember. I was getting them in the room. I just finished packing up one of the suitcases when, well, I don't know. It's almost like I just drifted off. And then I woke up here. I was tied up, but, well, I managed to escape.
She's going to pause for a moment like, Conrad, this is a very weird question, but it's been a very weird night. I need you to tell me something that only you would know. Like, how many times have I died?
How many times have you died?
I told you this.
I thought the once, right? I mean,
She looks very suspicious now. Conrad, I know you're old and you have bad memories, but right now I'm really scared. I need you to think. I told you.
oh, that's right. There was the second time. I forgot.
Oh, thank God. She's going to sort of sit up and hug him. Oh, we are in a pickle. Okay. Just give me a moment to get my bearings, and I'm guessing I don't have my loot or anything. I can't really do much. Unless you somehow have your bags here as well.
He shakes his head. No, unfortunately, they didn't make it with me.
Well, that was rude of them. We'll have to give them a bad review. Okay.
He smiles and he just goes in and... Martha, I'm glad you're okay. And he like just gives you a big hug.
I'm glad you are too. If anything had happened to you, I don't know what I would have done.
And with that, Penny, you don't see this, Martha. An unnaturally wide smile creeps across the face as we pan out from behind. And I think that's a good spot to leave it for tonight.
All right.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Steps.
that was a session.
First
I
steps
am
to
very
people. Honestly, better 2 people than the whole town's guards.
2
Also,
people? That was,
Yeah, that was 8.
people.
Yeah, that was 8 people.
He said 2
Yeah,
guards.
There's 2 guards.
Yeah,
in
Two
there.
guards.
Two
2
guards.
guards and a bunch of civilians.
You only
Nah.
said the guards rapidly approached me. You did not say a whole
No,
crowd is rapidly
he
following
said-
the guards.
He said the crowd was following the guards.
yeah, he said that there were 6 people.
There
and
were
2
more
guards.
people.
Anyway,
Anyway,
that's happened now.
well,
It's canon.
roleplay was, or playing Vernon in general was very fun tonight. I actually really enjoyed myself. I'm definitely trying to roleplay him like he has more of his mojo back.
So, I think